Okay, so welcome to the Art of Letting Go Masterclass. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate your time. Just for those newcomers, a couple of little housekeeping notes. So we're going to be doing. I'm going to be talking quite a bit, but if you have any questions at any point, feel free to just do your thing. So can you all see the screen? Can you see the that title slide, the Art of Letting Go Masterclass?
Yes, Jonathan.
You can. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions at any point, just you can put them in the. Oops. Okay, what's happening now? Screen sharing. Right. Okay. Looks like hopefully we're. Can you all see that? How to master the art of letting go, any stressful thought or emotion minutes, and so on. Okay. Shane, can you see the screen? Can you see that?
100%.
Make sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone's seeing it okay. Okay. So that's the full title of today's masterclass, How to Master the Art of Letting Go, and any stressful thought or emotion in minutes, and find authentic happiness, fulfilling flow, higher purpose, and ecstatic well-being to thrive through adversity in these turbulent times by tapping into the transformative power of 7 ancient spiritual techniques. So quite a lot there. I'm going to just unpack that as we go. So just to give some structure to it, I'll guide you through a simple breathing exercise just to help you relax and be present to start with. So we'll do that right now, just so that you can kind of settle in. So just making yourself comfortable, putting all your phones and so on mute, silent, so you don't get disturbed. Close your eyes. And just start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in through the lower stomach, noticing how the stomach rises, the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Feel the stomach rising, feel some energy rising up the spine to your heart center. Take another sip of air in. Feel like this energy is rising up into the crown of your head. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. And just check in, scan your mind briefly, just noticing any thoughts, any emotions, sensations in the body, particularly anything that's all disturbing, any kind of negative energy, anything that's lingering from the day. Just notice that, breathe into it again. Nice deep breath in. And then you create a little bit of space, a little bit of awareness around this negative energy, whatever you call it, contraction, constriction. Just by breathing, creating some space, it starts to dissipate a bit. Maybe you can observe that, a bit more clarity, more openness. Now, with the help of your breath, you're just going to let it go. So you're going to exhale out through the mouth, blowing it out through your mouth. Imagine it's just like a dark smoke, dark black smoke leaving you. And it's a full exhale out. Just releasing any dark energy and emotion. And you might find a bit of peace and stillness at the bottom of the exhale. Pay attention to the gaps, the gap between breaths. An opening and emptiness that comes in that. And now just breathe in and out again through your nose. Just 10 deep, slow, rhythmical breaths. In and out through your nostrils, and focus all your attention on your nostrils. Just the sensation of the breath flowing in to the nostrils and then naturally flowing out. So there's no attempt to force it. Try and keep your chin level, Shane. So just allows the air to flow in and out nicely and smoothly. And you're just going to observe the breath for a couple of minutes. So watch how the breath is happening to you and through you and for you. So there's no conscious stressing, straining, or striving. You just observe and notice that as you observe the sensations in the breath, your mind relaxes, comes into the present moment. You cannot not focus on your breathing and be relaxed. Activates the parasympathetic nervous system. So I'll just leave you in quiet for a minute or so, just to observe the breath, observe the sensations of the breath. Notice how the stomach is rising and the chest is rising, and subtle flow of air in through the nostrils and out through the nostrils. That's all you have to do for the next minute or so of silence. Just be still, relax, breathe, be present. Any thoughts and emotions come in, these are all irrelevant. Just practice returning your attention to the breath by paying attention to the subtle sensations of the breath. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do. Breathe, relax, and be still for the next minute of deep silence. And so just gently bring your attention back. Bring it back into the body. So notice not just your breath, but other sensations in the body. This is one way to be very present, just focusing on body sensations to bring the mind into the present moment. So let's do that on the count of 3. You're going to open your eyes. So 1, just breathing in. Noticing the air flowing in, the stomach rising, chest rising. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Okay, and check in, scan your mind, and notice the difference compared with a few minutes ago. There's more clarity, more openness, we call light. And if you notice it, then you can stay connected to it. You can anchor the state, as it's called in neuro-linguistic programming. So just notice it, set the intention to stay there for the rest of the evening. So it is said, so it is done. And to help you do that, just keep some attention on your breath as we go through the masterclass. Just a little bit of attention in your breathing will help to keep you focused in the present. And so exhale out through the nose. Notice the subtle sighing sound as you do that. Maybe you feel a sense of energy dropping down, front channel of your body coming to rest in your lower stomach and groin. On the count of 2, notice the weight of your body pressing down into the chair, wherever you're sitting, your feet touching the ground. Noticing what you're feeling and touching. Noticing any smell in your nose, any taste in your mouth. And noticing what you're hearing, surrounding environment. But without any judgment, it's just these things come and go. They just blow through the mind. And you're just very present, very calm, very relaxed. So on the count of 3, open your eyes. Take 30 seconds just to look around. Notice that whatever you see, and your underlying awareness is the same. Doesn't matter what object you happen to look at. Practice looking at something for a few seconds and move on to something else. Notice that actually your awareness is the same, and it's actually the same awareness as you had when you closed your eyes. So nothing's really changed. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the breathing exercise. That actually is a very profound little meditation you can do, 10 minutes, little 10-minute meditation like that. I'm going to send you all the recording as well via WhatsApp, so it'll be in there if you'd like to do that. And I tend to base, if you've been getting any of my emails, daily emails, I base all of my meditations and what I call breath breaks on that. Let's just say hello to Sue. Hi, Sue. Can you hear us okay? Still muted.
Hi, I can hear you fine.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks. Welcome. We started about 12 minutes ago, but you haven't missed much. We just did a little bit of breathing just to kind of center ourselves. So welcome. If you have any questions at any point, feel free to ask. Just put up your hand or can put something in the chat. Okay, so that's the first part of the masterclass. Second thing I want to cover is I'm going to talk about one secret skill that you need to master to allow your life to work miraculously, and I'll explain what miraculously really means. There's many teachings, there's many books and so on out there saying that there's many things you need to master. You've probably seen, the 7 habits, the 10 skills, the 7 secrets, and so on and so on. Well, in all of my studying and learning, I've come to the realization that there's really only one thing that you need to master, which makes it quite simple. And if you can master that, then everything flows and your life does work miraculously. I'll also talk about the 4 life-changing benefits of actually doing this. Then we'll go to techniques, because the question is, how do you actually do this? And the how-to is often where people get stuck. So I'm going to talk about 7 stress-busting techniques to help you to master the one essential skill. And these are the ancient techniques that I mentioned when you signed up. And how you can actually integrate practicing these techniques into your daily life to experience what are the life-changing benefits, and those 4 life-changing benefits consistently, because that's really what it's about. Can you do this consistently in your life and make it a part of your life? And then at the end, I'll guide you through a 10-step letting go process in meditation. If you like to stay, you may want to go, but it's an optional extra. It's about a 20-minute meditation just to end off. I like to start things on a meditative note and close them out on a meditative note as well. And we'll have some time for questions. In fact, I think I might do the questions before the meditation. So that's the structure. Just to talk about the 10-step letting go process. So I'll guide you through this in a 20-minute meditation if you stay till the end. I'll give you a written worksheet for the process just to thank you for joining. A half-hour recording to guide you through it. A chance to win a 30-minute online breath coaching session with me as well at the end if you stay until the very end. So if you do everything and you do the end meditation, then you qualify for all of that. So there's a little incentive to stay. So question is, why are you here today? And just pause and reflect on that a bit. So that's a rhetorical question, you don't have to answer it, but just think about it. Why have you shown up tonight? You're giving some of your valuable time. There's other things to do. And the answer must be because you're looking for something. And that may be just relief from stress, anxiety, depression, disease. Maybe it's better health you're looking for. Maybe it's more wealth, better relationships. It's a common one. A better quality of life and lifestyle. All of those are reasons why people join these kinds of sessions. But again, let me ask you, what are you really looking for? Okay, just watch your breath and just ask yourself that question for a moment or two. And if you're honest, in a word, I think you could put it, there's other words for this same idea, but happiness is as good as any. You could also call it inner peace, happiness, joy. But that's ultimately what we're looking for. We think that various things are going to help us to experience this elusive state called happiness. And so we seek those things. But what if happiness is available directly? So my question is, why haven't you found lasting happiness yet? And it's because you've been looking in the wrong place. And don't take that personally, because it's not personal. It just means you've been conditioned to think that you'll be happy when you have better or more of something else. And that's a societal program. We're all born into this. So we're conditioned to look at bodies, fit, healthy, young, sexy bodies are prized in our society. Of course, very few people have them, but we all seem to be forced to live up to that standard. And a lot of people desire this. So even if you have one of these, in time, it's going to fade. This is not going to last because we all age. And so the wrinkles come and the flab comes, and we end up starting to have to do things to maintain the physical body, like take pills and go to doctors and so on. So that's not a sustainable source of happiness. Maybe temporarily while you're young, but as you age, that's quickly fading. Another source might be a nice car, material possessions, whatever that may be for you. And of course, these things have their own problems. They all need to be maintained. Insurance, cars break down. Again, is this a source of sustainable happiness? If you've ever bought a new car, you probably know from your own experience, maybe the thrill of it lasts for maybe a few days, a week, a month, if you're lucky, and then it just becomes accepted. You just drive the car and there's nothing special about it, even if it's the most fancy luxury car there is. So the sort of temporary thrill wears off. So again, that's not a source of sustainable happiness. Maybe it's a nice house, nice lifestyle that goes with it. But there's a lot of people who live in these kinds of houses in places like Hollywood, and they're not very happy at all. They're quite miserable, and there's a lot of dysfunction in their life. So the house isn't going to make you happy. And of course, houses can burn down, and houses need insurance, and houses need maintenance. So none of these things comes without their problems. Maybe it's travel that does it for you. And obviously, if that's been the case, then over the last 2 years, you will have been quite disappointed because a lot of the time we've been locked down, we haven't been able to travel. And so again, is that sustainable? And even if you've gone on holiday, I mean, we've just had a holiday time, you'll know it's short-lived, a week or two. Yeah, holiday is a great thing to do, but it's not a sustainable source of happiness. You want to try and find something that's going to last, whatever you're doing. So fine dining, nice meals, sense pleasures. My post today was about letting go of expectations. So we're conditioned to believe that all of these things are going to make us happy. And of course, the flip side of all these things is that they can go sour. We all know what happens with special relationships when they turn nasty. It can be a source of great pain and suffering for both parties. You might be looking to books. I've read many of these books, and they have some great ideas, but in the end, the ideas need to be applied. You won't find the answer in the book. The answer is in you. It's about the application of the ideas. So again, you can get lost in books and theory and not actually applying it. That's a seminar run by a guy called Tony Robbins. I've actually been to one of these in London. It looked exactly like that. 4,000 people, everyone's going crazy. Pre-COVID days, of course. And I kind of looked at it and I was like, is this really sustainable? Because what's going to happen after the weekend? Everyone's on a high. He's using all kinds of techniques to get people's energy up. And what happens on Monday morning? Well, chances are you're still facing your problems. The thrill of the seminar is gone. And again, it wears off. Not necessarily a sustainable source of happiness. Some people look to drugs, pills, substances, and we know where that leads. It leads to addiction, and addiction leads to a lot of pain and suffering. So that's clearly not the answer. Psychotherapy, maybe that's one way of doing it, and I'm not knocking it, but too often it just becomes about talking about your problems, talking about the past. And there's some people who actually, in fact, I know a psychiatrist who had to break up with his therapist because the relationship became too close and it was all about specialness and it wasn't really about healing anymore. It became about sustaining the relationship. And so what is A Course in Miracles, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. What does this have to say? And it says that all mental illness is really some form of external searching. It's all about searching outside of yourself, and that's what our society has programmed us to do. I'm just going to resume the slideshow. Okay. It doesn't actually seem to have made any difference. Just seems to see some misformatting going on. So it's really about all mental illness being some form of external searching, which is what our society has programmed us to do, really, is to search externally, and money is a symbol of that. And so here's where you'll never find authentic happiness. We think we're going to find it in all the things that I've talked about, in fame, in money, in a beach body, in a new car. This is our societal programming and conditioning. We expect these things to make us happier, but actually these expectations are just completely wrong. This is what the research says. This is a lady called Dr. Laurie Santos from the Happiness Lab, who's a psychologist, said this. And this is actually what the research says. So 75 years, actually it's now into its 80th year, I think, around 80 years. It's a study called the Grant Study, where they studied a couple of hundred people from Harvard University who graduated in the 1940s, including John F. Kennedy, actually, incidentally. He was president of the United States, and they tracked them through their entire lives, and the conclusion that they came to was that happiness is love. None of the other things are going to work. The only thing that works is a sense of love in a person's life, love for themselves and the ability to love others as well. So we looked at. Let's look at what the cause of unhappiness then is. This lady is a very interesting lady, Marisa Peer. She's a hypnotherapist to celebrities in A-list Hollywood. She Princess Di was a client of hers, Amy Winehouse, people like this. And what she observed was all these celebrities were looking for happiness outside themselves. They were looking for some kind of satisfaction, fulfillment, and when they then achieved their success, they worked hard to get there. There was nowhere else to go. They still didn't find the fulfillment and the happiness they were looking for. And then they would sink into dysfunction and often get involved in drugs, addictions, dysfunctional relationships, and so on. And all she really taught them to do was to believe that they're enough. She'd give them an affirmation saying, well, I am enough. As simple as that. And so she summarized her findings by saying, when you know and believe you're enough, you don't need more. But when you feel and believe you're not enough, you will always want more. And so that's a very true statement. It's about accepting who we really are and that we're enough as we are, and letting go of the expectations that we need something to make us happy. Because that is the cause of unhappiness. We keep looking outside of ourselves for something to make us happy. And what we set ourselves up for is stress. Because when we look externally, there are also forms in the world that seem to be very threatening. So you desire things externally, but it also means that you can feel threatened by things externally. In fact, we feel threatened by our expectations not being met. Just the thought of these expectations we cherish not being met creates stress, which is really just a form of fear. So as Deepak Chopra said, all stress is the perception of some form of external threat. So let's ask, what is the key to happiness? Ask what is the cause of unhappiness? Yeah, let's go to A Course in Miracles. So the book says, mental health is inner peace. It enables you to remain unshaken by lack of love from without and capable through your own miracles, correcting the external conditions which proceed from lack of love in others. So it's pointing you within. Mental health is inner peace, and simply being unshaken by whatever is happening externally. So there are many instances of a lack of love in our lives. We experience this in relationships, we experience this in business, in our personal lives, we experience it just generally in society. And the answer is to remain unshaken by it, to go within and find this elusive inner peace, which is the source of happiness. So happiness isn't really a goal in itself. Happiness is actually like a butterfly, which when pursued is always just beyond your grasp, but if you'll just sit down quietly, it may come and alight on you. So you may have experienced a little taste of that actually when we did the 10-minute meditation, just sitting quietly, not seeking anything, just observing your breath, being aware. You may find that this elusive butterfly of happiness just started to arise and you started to feel actually quite okay, quite good about yourself, quite happy, if you want to put a word to it. So where can you find authentic happiness? Again, we look to some teachers. This is a guy by the name of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who wrote many books on flow. He's a guy who coined the term flow and became a recognized modern psychological concept as a result of his work. He said to know oneself is the first step toward making flow a part of one's entire life. But just as there is no free lunch in the material economy, nothing comes free in the psychic one. If one is not willing to invest psychic energy and the internal reality of consciousness, and instead squanders it in chasing external rewards, one loses mastery of one's life and ends up becoming a puppet of circumstances. And I've highlighted, underlined, squanders it in chasing external rewards, because he's really just saying, he's saying what every great spiritual master said. This is what the Buddha said 2,500 years ago. Desire is the source of all suffering. Our expectations cause us to suffer. So we squander our psychic energies, how he puts it, in chasing external rewards. We become a puppet or a victim of circumstances. And we see the consequence of that. I mean, if nothing else, the COVID pandemic has shown us what happens if you simply believe whatever's going on externally. You become a victim or puppet. You're very fearful, and you can be manipulated and controlled to do all kinds of things that are not necessarily in your best interest. So he's highlighting all this. He's saying, instead of this, to know yourself, know thyself, which is the ancient injunction. It's on the inscription on the temple, the oracle of Delphi in Greece. It's the ancient spiritual call to know thyself. This picture in the background, by the way, is from the movie The Matrix. You may recognize it. That's near the back of Neo's head, and he's at the oracle, and she's pointing into that sign above, saying, "Do you know what that means?" Timid musket means "know thyself" in Latin. So this is the call that we all need to listen to get to know ourselves, and from that comes this this ability to flow with life. I'll talk more about flow as we go along. So what does happiness rely on? It often relies just on one character trait, and that's self-discipline. Right? So self-discipline, and you might ask, to do what? Well, in a nutshell, and this is the one key skill that I was going to share with you, promised to share with you, is to let go of any negative thought / emotion. And I've hyphenated that because it's very difficult to actually distinguish between a thought and emotion. The two kind of go hand in hand. Thought stimulates emotion, emotion stimulates thought, and it's all happening in the mind. It's all being experienced on a mind level. So where does the one begin and the other end? But it is a movement of the mind, thought, emotion arising. And a negative thought and emotion is anything that feels unpleasant, anything that feels negative, it feels constricting, contracting, limiting in some way. And our only job really is to let go of these negative thoughts as they arise. So that is the one key skill. And it sounds really simple. It's a simple idea, but to actually do it is really the art of letting go. And that's the whole point of any spiritual program and any spiritual practice, is to learn that key skill. So what are the benefits of that? Well, benefit number one is that it will lead you to authentic happiness. This is not a happiness based on anything external, based on some temporary desire that's going to be met. This is something much deeper. So the fundamental principles behind this idea are that, first of all, happiness or unhappiness is always experienced in your own mind. I think we all intuitively know that's true because it's not an external state. Something might trigger you to be happy or unhappy, but the experience is in your own mind. And really, only your own negative thoughts and feelings can make you unhappy because of that reason. So something might happen externally, but it's your own perception of it that makes you happy or unhappy. Because those two principles are true, you might argue with them, but if you're honest, you will have to acknowledge that both of those are true. Therefore, learning how to let go of your negative thoughts and emotions must be the key to happiness. If you can let go of any negativity, then you restore your mind to its true nature, its fundamental state, which is happiness. Again, a very, very simple idea, but to actually do it is the key. So that's really key benefit number one of mastering this art of letting go, is you can have this authentic happiness as your foundation, as your base state in life. Secondly, it's about fulfilling flow. So being able to let go of negative thoughts and emotions quickly. Gives you the ability to stay calm and poised in whatever the situation is. Even if it's stressful, you can remain calm, you can remain poised, you can breathe, and actually able to enjoy it. Even in a difficult situation, there can be an enjoyment in rising to that challenge. So this is really about happiness in action. Flow is happiness in action. How do you actually live this and be engaging in life, but be doing it from this underlying state of happiness, and you take your happiness into each moment and you enjoy each moment. And then if you can do that, positive and effective action to respond to any situation appropriately tends to happen automatically. So you don't have to stress and strain and strive to do this. There's none of that mode of operating the ego, which is actually quite dysfunctional. It just flows. It flows from your state of mind. It flows from your calmness. It flows from your enjoyment of each moment. What you should do comes out of that. And there's another intelligence that comes in and starts to guide you to respond appropriately, whatever that response looks like. So a lot of people say, well, what happens if you're being attacked? Well, you would respond appropriately. Maybe you'd defend yourself. Maybe you'd run away. Maybe you'd say something that could defuse the whole situation. Every situation is different, but you would remain very calm and very poised, which is the key, and able to handle whatever situations life throws at you. So that's key benefit number 2 of this one essential skill. So let's look at a little bit in more detail at what is flow. Okay, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who's probably the world's leading expert on it. It says it's when we act freely for the sake of the action itself, rather than for ulterior motives. We learn to become more than what we were. So again, it's not about these ulterior motives, what we desire, what we think is going to make us happy. It's for the sake of the action itself. Picture there is of a father, I assume, with his daughter, and they're just having a nice time. They're playing, and there's no motive other than the enjoyment of the moment. And so why couldn't we act in that way in every moment, even if we're doing some seemingly goal-directed activity? So we have businesses, we have jobs. Why can't we apply the same thing? And what Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi is saying is, yes, you absolutely can. It's a different way of operating the world. Instead of being outcome-oriented, you become process-oriented. And it's about enjoying the process for itself. And then paradoxically, the outcomes are much more effective when you do that. It's this weird paradox in life. The more you attach to outcome, the less likely you are to get it. And the more stress you're experiencing in trying to get it. If you let go of the outcome and you do the process for itself, then the outcome can come. You may choose to do different things, of course, but the outcomes tend to be much easier, much more flowing, and you perform better. So things happen better when you're in flow. It's in fact the key to any great performance. If you look at any great athlete, artist in any field of endeavor, they're able to tap into the state of flow, and that's where their performance comes from. So authentic happiness, this is the key to higher purpose and ecstatic well-being. So authentic happiness leads to flow in every aspect of your life. And if you're flowing in every aspect of your life, you will tend to be healthy. You will tend to have a sense of meaning. You will tend to have what I call an extraordinary, ordinary experience of life. So it's not about necessarily doing extraordinary things, going and climbing Mount Everest or winning Wimbledon, or it's just in your daily life, being in an extraordinary state of mind, being in this flow state really does unlock what I call miraculous experiences and results. And those are just results where you're in flow, and especially if you feel challenged, where you shift. A miracle is really just a shift in perception. So you move from a negative state into a happy flowing state. If you're able to do that consistently, this is mastery of the art of letting go, and it leads to all these profound benefits. You will find a sense of higher purpose in doing this, There'll be meaning just in your daily life. If you're happy and you're in flow, then you don't need to look anywhere else for some kind of higher purpose. And ecstatic well-being, you really can have these moments where you feel extraordinarily well in this journey, where you're enjoying life, you're present, and these little ecstatic moments can populate your days. And I'm speaking from personal experience here. So those are the benefits 3 and 4. Key benefits 3 and 4 of this flow state. So just to summarize, 4 keys to an extraordinary ordinary life. Benefit number 1 is the key to authentic happiness. How to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them seems to be. Number 2 is the key to fulfilling flow. So it's about how do you remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive, effective action to respond to any situation appropriately. Number 3 and 4 is the key to higher purpose and ecstatic well-being. So how to be happy and in flow in every aspect of your life and live a healthy, meaningful, extraordinary, ordinary life filled with miraculous experiences and results. And I think everyone would probably acknowledge if you're doing that, then that could be called success. If you're living in a happy way, you're flowing with life, you're experiencing health and well-being, miraculous experiences, you're adding value to others. It's not just about you, it's about helping others. That's a good definition of success. Success is in the eye of the beholder, but I can't think of any better definition. It's not about it doing anything external. It's about your internal state of mind, and then being able to live in that state and act in that state. So letting go. So can you see why letting go is the critical skill? Because letting go leads to authentic happiness, which leads to fulfilling flow, which leads to a sense of higher purpose and ecstatic well-being. And so that whole stream follows one from another. If you can't let go, then there's no happiness. And if you don't find happiness, then there's no flow. And if you don't flow, then fulfillment, higher purpose, and ecstatic well-being are simply not there. You're just grinding your way through life, usually trying to achieve some external outcome instead of doing it inside out. So the question then becomes, how can I learn to let go and find my flow? And that's presumably why you came to the masterclass, to learn how can you apply this in your own life. So learning new information is often a necessary, but it's not a sufficient step for a true transformation of mind to happen. So I can share information tonight. It's all great. If you do nothing with the information, if you don't apply it, probably nothing much is going to happen. It's going to be something, oh, that was interesting. But to actually transform your life requires, well, there's 2 ways to do it. Number 1 is you can do it through intense pain and suffering, forced to go within and break through suddenly to a new level of understanding and wisdom. I call that the way of the cross. And that's the old way. We suffer and we suffer until eventually we surrender because it becomes too painful. I think there's an element of it in anyone's awakening, because without some pain and suffering, why would you change? There has to be some discomfort to cause you to change. So it's a part of any transformational path. But if you make it the only way, then you're really just waiting for life to give you your lessons and hope that some kind of transformation happens. It can happen. Suddenly people like Eckhart Tolle woke up at the age of 29, but he suffered for 29 years before that. He wasn't very happy at all. And suddenly he had a kind of breakthrough experience in one night and passed out because the energy was so intense, woke up the next morning and he's like, oh, wow, I'm actually free of this ego. He didn't understand what had really happened. It took him years to integrate the experience. So it can happen, but this second way is a better way, in my view, because you can consciously undertake the practice of spiritual ideas and techniques And through this conscious practice, we call it spiritual practice, you systematically grown in understanding and wisdom. And so you learn progressively, day by day. Maybe nothing much shifts in a day, but over the course of weeks and months, you start to see these subtle shifts. And if you keep doing it for a year or two, you certainly do notice a profound difference. And I call this the way of mastery. Again, both of these paths are ancient. The way of mastery has been going on a very long time. So this is why we have spiritual teachings and techniques, because people have been practicing these for many centuries and millennia, to try and help them to find a better way of living, to find the happiness that everyone is seeking for. And that's the common theme that has run through human history, is this idea that everyone is ultimately looking for happiness. And these spiritual teachings and practices are a way to experience it. In fact, I don't know another way, because if you're not practicing these things, then generally the ego is going to be in charge, and the ego for sure is not going to make you happy. And the ego is just your separate sense of being, a separate sense of self. So let's look at some of these principles of transformation through mastery quickly. So it's about understanding and realization through your personal experience. It requires your active willingness and your disciplined effort to do. It's not something that can be given you. You actually have to work at this. Doing what I call key spiritual practices regularly is essential. So if you're not doing those, then you're not making progress on the path. The way of mastery is about doing these practices in a conscious, disciplined way. And it can be greatly facilitated by another person or group who help to raise the person's initiates. I'm using transformational language now. Raise the initiate's consciousness by transmitting positive energy and holding the person accountable. So we have a group. Even though it's not physical, we're meeting on Zoom, and there's a facilitator, which is me, and all of that creates a positive energy. Whenever you enter the group, even when you're not on a Zoom session, you're connected to the group, because we have things like email lists and WhatsApp groups. You're connected. There's a positive energy that kind of holds you accountable. You start to hold yourself to a higher standard. And that's really important, because it's very easy, if you're doing this yourself, just not to do it. And if no one's holding you accountable, well, no one's going to say, hey, maybe you should practice this. So that's a very big part of the program. It creates a little bit of self-discipline through this group energy, ability to be a bit more disciplined than maybe you would be on your own. And then immersion in these key spiritual practices and this positive field of consciousness really greatly accelerate this transformation. So it's about immersing yourself into this process. And the more you do that, the more benefit you get. It's as simple as that. If you do half an hour a week, well, how much can you expect? But if you're doing it daily, you can put in an hour or two a day into this kind of a program, then you do really start to see results. And I'm not just saying that, I've experienced them, and many people who've been through my course have experienced it as well. I'll talk about that just now. So let's talk about first the 7 key spiritual practices, or KSPs for short, that I recommend. So these key spiritual practices, including breathwork techniques, and I reference this to the yogic tradition. So I don't know if you've ever done yoga, but yoga is much more than just showing up and doing some postures in a yoga studio. It's a very deep teaching. It's a transformational path, possibly the first one that was ever established and formalized. A guy called Patanjali wrote it all down and formulated these 8 limbs of yoga a couple of thousand years ago. And so these are the limbs. Asana is just posture. So posture really, in the meditation sense, is just sitting in a comfortable posture so that you're ready for the meditation. And there's pranayama, which literally means breath control or breath discipline. So that's about the breathing. We've already done some of that today. Pratyahara is about withdrawal of the senses. So you closed your eyes, you went within, you focused on your breathing. And so you start to withdraw a little bit from the external world by closing your eyes, by not focusing on your sense perceptions as much, your other sense perceptions. You have this sense of withdrawing and going within. Maybe you had a sense of that. And then the second key spiritual practice is what I call multidimensional meditation. So it includes the first three: asana, pranayama, and pratyahara. Those are all foundations. And then you go into what's called dharana and dhyana. So those are a focused state of concentration. So for instance, just focusing on your breathing is a dharana. It's a dharana technique. But if you do that for an extended period, then you might find you're moving into what we call dhyana, which is a deep contemplative state where maybe the focus on the one thing slips away, but your mind is just starting to become aware of itself as what I call pure formless awareness. So it's a deeper state of meditation. It can take years of practicing to get into those states consistently. So don't expect that this is going to happen overnight from one or two meditations, but the multidimensional aspect that I've incorporated really helps your mind to focus. So because there's a breathing to focus on, there's also visualization colors that I use in some of the meditations. There's toning and your sense of hearing is engaged in that. Kinesthetic, your sense of touch. You can use any of these things to focus your mind. And we all have different ways we operate. So some people are more visual, some people are more auditory, some people are more kinesthetic. So you're going to focus on whichever works for you. And that really takes you into this focused state, which opens the way to a deeper contemplative state, ultimately. So that's focused concentration is the dharana aspect. Then the third key spiritual practice is forgiveness or letting go. So we call yama and niyamas. Those are observances and abstentions. So you say, I don't want to eat meat, for instance. That's an abstention. I want to maintain a cleanliness of habits. I'm not going to smoke. I'm not going to drink. I'm going to practice breath work. I'm going to exercise. Those are the positive ones, and there's ones that you're going to avoid. So those are incorporated into it because you want to let go, ideally, of habits that are not serving you. So yama niyama covers that. And pratyahara is a withdrawal of the senses. So you go within, and through letting go, you start to let go of the importance that you give to your sense perceptions. Because we all attach so much importance to these things. And if we can let them go, then that's the first step in saying, well, I can actually let go of the emotions, the thoughts and emotions that are troubling me. So it's a stacked layer. We start letting go of sense perceptions, then we move into letting go of thoughts and emotions. And they help each other. Number 4 is group discussion sessions. So again, this is part of niyama. There's a kind of subcategory of that called svadhyaya, which is really reading and study. So in a group discussion, we would actually read a book, Course in Miracles, and we'd discuss it. And it's a form of study, just using modern technology to assist us, doing it via Zoom. Also reading and listening to spiritual texts, so you can do that on your own. There's recordings as well. Again, modern technology makes it easier. It's also part of niyama. And the 6th one is what I call fasting and abstinence. It doesn't just mean not eating, although that's part of it. It means abstaining from things that are not going to really serve you. And so that could be things, bad habits, smoking, drinking, substance abuse, eating, overeating. We all know, the bad habits that we can pick up. And so the idea is by abstaining from it, by observing this yama and niyama, and also pratyahara. I actually had that in there. Pratyahara is a sense of withdrawing from the world. That's the value of fasting and abstinence. It's a form of letting go of your attachment to worldly things, and it connects you with a deeper sense that's beyond your sense perceptions, deeper sense of self. And then finally, reflection. So it's kind of a form of meditation, but I included it separately because you're not going that deep. It's just quietening your mind. So you do a bit of breathing and then reflecting consciously. So you're actually bringing to mind some questions, which I'll give you to ask and answer about the day. And that incorporates quite a bit: asana, pranayama, breathing, pratyahara, drawing the senses, getting quiet for a few minutes, and dharana. So there's some focus in the process. You're focusing on each question, you bring it to mind. It's known as reflection or contemplation in some spiritual traditions, and yeah, it's also a part of the yogic tradition. And then at the top of the ladder is number 8, which is enlightenment. So in the yogic tradition, they call it samadhi, which means really a sameness of perception. So you perceive everyone and everything the same. You're seeing a unity. You see the underlying unity of life rather than separation. And that's a state that people like Jesus and Buddha and various enlightened masters have attained, and they lived in that state. And we saw the results of that state of mind in their words and their actions, which have come down over thousands of years to us. We still talk about them today. So they must have been in some pretty profound states of mind. So that's where all of this leads to. And that samadhi doesn't just mean you sit and you bliss out all day. It means that you carry this sameness of perception with you wherever you go, and you're able to be happy and in flow wherever you go. So let me talk about the Art of Letting Go course briefly, because this is what actually actualizes all of this and puts it into some kind of form that becomes doable for you. So it's a facilitated 6-week mind and life transformation process. It's guided, it's facilitated. You get a lot of guidance and support from me, and there's a group, as I mentioned, who are going to be doing it with you. It's based on the way of mastery. It's based on yoga and immersion learning. These principles that I just talked about incorporates the 7 key spiritual practices that I mentioned and the 7 limbs of yoga. The intention of bringing you into that samadhi state, even if you get glimpses of that is absolutely profound. Just to have a taste of that enlightened state, you'll never be the same again. And the key spiritual practices include live and recorded daily online meditations and discussion sessions. There's a 1-week breathwork course that's included in the first week. It includes some self-study, includes solo meditation. So it's an immersion process. And obviously, the more you immerse yourself in it, the more you get out of it. The more you put in, the more you get out. The goal really of the course is to help you to learn to let go of any fearful, stressful thoughts and emotions whenever they arise. So you can start consistently experiencing some of these key benefits. So authentic happiness, you'll know how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation provoking them appears to be, and choose to be happy instead. So these are the same key benefits as the letting go course. So promise to share a couple of case studies. So I'm going to do that now. This is a chap by the name of Phil. He's the older one there. Phil was actually in his 80s when he did the course. He'd been studying A Course in Miracles for 27 years. So I was under a little bit of pressure because I hadn't been studying. I've studied it now for about 15 years. But it's not really the length of time that you study it for, it's the depth to which you go. And it's probably one of the best testimonials I got from anyone who's done the course. He said, I've learned more about A Course in Miracles in the last 6 weeks than in the last 27 years of studying it. So even though he'd been studying this book and doing it for 27 years, there was a lot of value that he got out of the course. And really his key takeaway was learning how to forgive truly. So that finally, because that's really what A Course in Miracles is about, it's about how do you forgive truly. And he learned that in the 6 weeks. So now I'm just going to digress a little bit because I'm going to talk about A Course in Miracles. I'm going to assume that no one knows anything about it. If you know anything about it, some of this is repetition and apologies, but I know there are people who don't. So what is it? Where does it come from? What's the deal with A Course in Miracles? So as you can see, it's a pretty thick book. It's about 1,300 pages. It's got a text of about 670 pages that explain in detail the principles and the philosophy on which the course is based. So that's the theory. Then you have a 488-page workbook, which is made up of 365 daily lessons designed to systematically train your mind how to let go of its negativity, allowing you to live in a miraculous state of mind, what I call a flow state. And that miracles and flow I use synonymously. So it's got both the theory and then the practice. These exercises are very practical. They're designed to take you into a meditative state and to actually apply the ideas in your daily life through these mind training exercises. So it's a really well-structured course, and because it's got the theory and the practice, and then you've got some kind of FAQ format, which is it's a manual for teachers. It's in a Q&A format, which is additional guidance and clarification of terms. And then there's some supplements as well, which make it up. But what is it really? I still haven't really explained what it is. So, and where it came from. It was transmitted by Jesus. So he identified himself as such to this lady. She was a professor of psychology in New York City at Columbia University, in a very prestigious setting. She wasn't religious. She was an atheist, Jewish by birth, but atheistic. She was very much into her mind, her intellect. And her boss worked in a pretty high-stress environment. There was a lot of conflict. And how this all kicked off was in April of 1965. They were driving to a disciplinary hearing downtown in New York, and Bill Thetford, who was Helen's colleague, just turned to her and said, there must be a better way than this. Like, why is there so much infighting and conflict in the department? And they'd had a lot of conflict, so he expected her to kind of sneer at him. But she said, yeah, I agree, and I'll help you find it. I don't know what the better way is, but I'll help you find it. So in that moment, there was a meeting of minds and a common purpose that really transcended their differences. And that common purpose, of course, calls the Holy Spirit. It's a voice that speaks for oneness and speaks for unity in amongst the voice for separation that seems to govern this world. It says, actually, we're the same, we're not different, we have a common purpose, we have common interests. And so they embarked on this project together. Very soon after that, she started having vivid dreams and seeing herself as a priestess in white robes. And she had some pretty interesting psychic experiences, which she confided in Bill. And then in October of that year, she started just hearing this voice. This voice said to her, "This is A Course in Miracles, please take notes." And she was like, well, what's going on here? So she phoned Bill, said, well, I don't know, Helen, but just, given you've been having these experiences, why don't you just listen to the voice, write down what it says, bring it in the morning, and if it's all gibberish, then, we forget about it, we don't talk about it. But if it's, who knows what might come. So she did, and she took the stuff and her writing a couple of pages the next morning, and he said, well, Helen, no disrespect, but this isn't from you. This is profound and amazing. She said, yes, I know. Freaked her out. So that's how the course started, and it continued over the course of about 7 years, this dictation process. It would come and go, this voice would come, and she would just pick up a paper and pen and write, and then she'd take in the transcript, taking the manuscript to Bill, and he would type it up. And that's how eventually it became a book. It was published in 1976, first in 3 volumes. So what is it? Well, it's a systematic mind training course to teach you a radically different way of thinking about and perceiving everything from a non-dual perspective. So what does that mean? It means non-dual means not two. In other words, duality seems to be the governing principle of this world. Everything has an opposite. There's love and hate, and light and darkness, and up and down, and hot and cold, and male and female, and so on, and go on and on. And non-dual, a non-dual perspective, somebody says, no, none of these opposites are true. There is actually, transcending all of this, above this level of duality, is oneness. And oneness, you can perceive everything in the world from this perspective of oneness, even while you seem to be here in the dualistic world, perceiving with your body's eyes and your senses, and seeming to have a body and seeming to be exposed to all of the duality of the world. And it just takes some mind training to do that. So it's designed to teach you how to forgive or to let go of every false and therefore negative belief, thought, and emotion that causes you and others to suffer. That's really the key thing. And that process of letting go or forgiving is what the entire course is about. How do you let go of these internal beliefs and the thoughts and emotions that cause you and others to suffer? And so finally, it becomes a spiritual path that will allow you to live happily, peacefully, and lovingly. All of that together I would call flow, in a flow state in the world, and ultimately escape the world entirely. So it's set at the very highest level of spiritual truth. It's saying, according to the perennial philosophy, there is another dimension, there's another reality. And we can find that. In fact, all spiritual practice and teaching is about finding that within yourself. It's not outside of you, it's not in the external world, it's within. Jesus called it the kingdom of heaven. The Buddha called it nirvana. There's been other names for it. It's been called the ground of being. It's another reality, another dimension in your mind. And what the Course is saying is that it actually is true reality, that this is some kind of an illusion, a dream, and that ultimately we can transcend it. We can escape it entirely if we will train our minds to let go of our attachment to everything in this world, because our attachment shows up in the form of desires and fears, expectations and grievances. Those are what keep us bound to the world, and they keep us coming back over and over again. So we've had many, many times here, many lifetimes, and ultimately, what's the end game? Of course, it's saying, well, the end game is to escape and to return your mind to this pure formless awareness, God, whatever you want to call it, heaven, so that where there's only happiness, there's only peace, there's only love, and there is no negative. It simply does not exist there. So some well-known students and teachers of the course. There's Marianne Williamson, who was president. She ran for president a couple of years ago. Didn't succeed, but she's a very well-known teacher of the Course in Miracles. She's written a number of books on it. In one of the books, she had a really inspirational quote, which I read every day, which Nelson Mandela read. And he then quoted it when he came out of prison in 1990. So he was influenced by A Course in Miracles. I'm not sure he studied it directly, but certainly influenced by the ideas. And we certainly saw that influence in his presidency, because he really did stand for forgiveness, for reconciliation. He was trying to bring people together rather than separate them. So the principle of unity and forgiveness very much came through. Then there's Oprah Winfrey, who you may be familiar with, very well known. She knows people like Marianne Williamson. In fact, Marianne's kind of her guru. So she's studying the Course. There's Deepak Chopra, you're probably familiar with as well. He's quoted the Course. In fact, that quote I shared earlier was really pretty much Course in Miracles 101, just in his own words, slightly changed from what the Course says. As Wayne Dyer, in his latter years, he very much got into the Course and other non-dual teachings. Eckhart Tolle, so a very well-known spiritual teacher, has been in a number of his videos, he actually quotes from it directly, he reads from it. And there's myself, so I'm nowhere near as famous as these people, and I probably never will be, but I did actually have a request by Shane to just share a little bit about my journey, so that's what I'm going to do now, so you get a bit of background on myself. So who am I? And that's, in the ultimate sense, beyond words, but I'll just talk about my particular life experience so far. So there's me as a young squash player. I went to university, did a 4-year degree, but I decided that I wanted to pursue my passion, which was squash. And at that age, I had this great, as I now realize, ego goal of being a world champion. I was like, well, why aim for anything less? I'm going to do this. I'd read books like Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill and various others of the same genre, and I was inspired. Well, I can do this. So actually, my father's all right, dropped out of I didn't drop out. I finished my degree, but I didn't continue on and go into accounting, do a graduate diploma in accounting. I decided to go and play professional squash instead, and that was probably my first kind of major letting go experience. I just let go really of a traditional conventional path. Took me in a very different life path from that one decision, and so I went overseas. I started to play professionally. I went to the UK. When I was in the UK, I learned meditation. Wanted to improve my squash, so I learned meditation. Little did I know that it has other effects than improving your performance on the sports field. And in about sort of late 90s, I sort of came to a point. I got excluded from England. I had to come back for visa reasons, and I realized I was then in my late 20s that this just wasn't going to happen. I was not going to become world champion. I was still miles away from that goal, and I was kind of running out of time. I was in my late 20s. If you haven't done it by the time you're 30, in squash terms, you're too old. So yeah, that led me to some very interesting spiritual experiences. I started to wake up, I think, spiritually. I started reading various books, books by like Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, A New Earth, Conversations with God, and these kinds of books. Maybe some of you have read them. I was meditating every day, and in sort of early 2003, 4, I decided that I wanted to start putting this out there and teaching it. So I started Life Build with a friend, and then we went our separate ways in 2006. So I wanted to go in a more spiritual direction. So for a number of years, I ran workshops regularly in Johannesburg. I did some in Durban, some in Cape Town. I ran retreats that's in Mozambique, actually. So we went down there and had a great time. Swam with dolphins and did some spiritual work at the time. And it was a fantastic time of my life. I learned a lot. I grew a lot. I also got some of my work published by a US organization called Success University. They produced 7 CDs, and I have 10 Steps to Overcoming Fear. So I'm going to actually send you that as an added bonus. You stay until the end. I'm going to send you that link to that recording. It's a half-an-hour interview. But in about 2013, I sort of got itchy feet. And I was like, something needs to change. I've been doing this for a number of years now, and I love it, but what's next? And so I got an opportunity to go to the UK. A friend of mine asked me to go over and help him to raise some capital for a new business he was starting. So I went over and I met my then fiance at the time of this picture. That's Oxford Street in December in London. I moved over to the UK a year or two later, 2015. Carried on running some sort of breathwork workshops and a once-a-week meditation session. But we had a family, had a son, and I needed to earn more money. So I went into the corporate world. I started trying to do corporate finance. I started a new business selling card payment solutions in the UK. It's me in corporate mode. And about 2018, I just sort of felt like I'd lost my way a bit. I'd let go of my business in South Africa. I wasn't really doing that anymore. Moved countries. I wasn't doing the same thing. had a wife and a son now. It was an immense amount of change, which I really found quite difficult to deal with. I guess it was some kind of midlife crisis. And I'm very grateful for it in hindsight, because it made me really dig deep and go within and really let go of an old identity. I realized that actually wasn't Jonathan Quail. This whole story was an illusion, and I really got it experientially, rather than just as an intellectual concept. So it was really a dark night of the soul experience, but as a result, I'm a better human being and a better teacher for it. And I continue to learn myself. Last year I went and I did a 10-day silent retreat down in Worcester, at a place called Dhammapataka, and again had some really profound experiences. So I continue to learn and grow and advance on my own path as I continue teaching it. So first a student, and then second a teacher, and in the end you teach what you need to learn. So that was a little bit of a digression. I talked about the Course in Miracles, which is some background. I talked about myself, so you got a bit of context as to who I am and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Just to come back to Phil, remember that's what he had to say about the course. I learned how to forgive truly, and really a major breakthrough, a cathartic experience on the last day after the holotropic breathing session. So he wrote me this on the last day of the course, really saying that he just replayed the music that we'd done during this holotropic breathing, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. And he'd had this profound kind of catharsis where he'd actually brought up some stuff. He'd had a grievance really against his parents for his entire life. He somehow thought that they weren't good enough for him. Although they were actually very competent people, they were very good people. As he says there, you can probably read, his mother was really brilliant, but he never really acknowledged her. She'd done all kinds of amazing things, like gone to university, she taught high school English, she did book reviews, she had a weekly column in the main newspaper in the town where he lived up in what was then Rhodesia. But he wanted her to be something else, as he says, God only knows what. And during this replay, he suddenly just had a catharsis. He broke down and sobbed his heart out, and he was able to forgive himself. And as he said, I've been carrying this baggage around all my life at a huge cost, and he was able to actually let it go. And that wasn't just the one process, the holotropic breathing. That was the entire 6 weeks that led to that. So it was a culmination of a process. And funny enough, someone else a couple of days earlier had also had a major kind of breakthrough experience. So if you do this kind of work, then these things can happen. Can't guarantee it because everyone's different. Every experience is going to be unique, but you put yourself in the field of transformation. So in terms of the results, key benefit number 2 of the course is finding fulfilling flow in your daily life. So it's about knowing how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive and harmonious action to respond to any situation effectively. And if you can really do that, then it can be a major benefit. So I'm going to share my own experience here. As I mentioned, I was a professional squash player. So very early in my professional career, I was about 6 months into it. I quit varsity, putting all this pressure on myself to really perform. And in my mind, I should be beating anyone who is not a professional, even though I was only 6 months into it, and it can take years to really improve your level to a professional level. But I was creating these expectations in my mind. And so I'd lost to this chap. He was played at my club in Killarney, as it's now called, in the club champs a bit earlier in the season. He was an older player. He'd been top 10 in the country, but he was no longer there. In my mind, there's no way I should be losing to him, but I'd lost quite badly, 3-love in the club champs. And I was now playing him in a rematch in a little club derby. We had a league match, and there were two sides in the first league. So I was his opposite number. So the whole day I'm stressing about this, like feeling the fear, feeling the anxiety, putting all this pressure on myself because I didn't want to lose. And I knew, everyone at the club's going to be watching, and kind of my whole dreams on the line, and all of this kind of inbuilt expectations. I didn't really realize fully in the moment. But something in me said, look, you need to just somehow let go of this. So I went for a walk in the late afternoon, and had a chat to my sister. It was a nice day. She just said, well, why don't you just enjoy playing? Because that's why I started playing. And that wisdom really, really struck me. So somehow I managed to, for the rest of the evening, it was an evening match, just really not think. I didn't think about the match. I didn't think about the outcome. I didn't think about my strategy, how I was going to play, what other people were going to think. Nothing. So I was really just letting go on a major level. I was letting go of all of that fear and that anxiety. And I went on court and I just played the most amazing match of my life. It was quite extraordinary. I really went into a flow state, and this quote by Eckhart Tolle describes it quite well. So I've included it because it was exactly as he explains. This mastery was like, my thinking mind was no longer involved at all. I was just doing it. It was happening to me, through me. There was another kind of power, intelligence that took over, and yet it felt amazing. It felt like actually much more authentic than the old kind of fearful self that had been trying to do it up until that point. I didn't have to make decisions. It just happened. Spontaneous right action just happened, and I wasn't doing it. There was no sense of a me. I was really just a witness. I was observing how I was playing. And wow, this is pretty amazing. It's actually quite incredible, but I'm not really doing it. So as Eckhart says, mastery of life is the opposite of control. You become aligned with a greater consciousness. It acts, speaks, and does the works. And so I really experienced that. And that was a life-changing experience. As a result of that, I got more into, that was before I'd started meditating. I think it took me on a path to really open me up to altered states of mind, because that's what he's describing there, to how do you achieve that? I started studying peak performance, and you start learning that, these principles are the same. In fact, Abraham Maslow talks about peak experiences, but he originally called them mystic experiences, and he changed the name because it wasn't that well accepted in by his peers in the psychological world. But he maintained that a peak experience and a mystic experience were exactly the same thing. So a lot of these kinds of experiences can happen if you do these practices. And so then we've got key benefit number 3, which is higher purpose. So a lot of people are looking for their purpose. What's my purpose in life? Some people have been looking for years. And it's actually really, really simple. It's to experience more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life. If you're experiencing happiness and flow moment by moment, all the purpose that you need is in that experience. You don't need anything else to happen. You don't need something to happen in the future to then give you the happiness that you're seeking. It's happening right now, moment by moment by moment. And the meaning of your life is in that happiness and that flow. So again, you don't need to look anywhere else for meaning in all of your daily activities. If they make you happy, if you're happy and you're in flow while you're doing them, then they are meaningful and purposeful in and of themselves. So again, let's look at a little case study. This was a chap called Wim Criminal, who did the first course that I ran 3 years ago. And a couple of weeks into the course, he posted this on the Facebook group. So I experienced a severe ego attack, and all didn't go very well on the tennis court. He was playing a social match of tennis, and because he was very attached to the outcome, he wanted to win. He got frustrated. He got irritated. That escalated and snowballed. He tried to force points. And if any of you have ever played sport and you know what it's like to be out of flow, then he's describing exactly that experience, a very unpleasant experience for him. And said, I should have just breathed and calmed down and try to get some perspective. But, in the heat of the moment, his ego took over. So he shared this in one of the sessions we did. And then I I shared with him the experience I've just shared with you and taught him some breathing, some of the breathing that we did earlier, just deep diaphragmatic breathing. And to his credit, he applied it the next week and had a completely different experience. Same situation, same court, same opponent, and yet the experience was completely different, as he explains here. So he centered himself, he breathed, and he found peace in the moment. He played a lot better as a result of it, and he actually won in 3 sets, which he'd never done before. So said I realized it wasn't about competition and winning, even though he did win. So that's the paradox of it. It was really about the experience. So this is the flow state. It's not about the outcome. It's about the experience being worthwhile for itself. I was in flow. I really enjoyed it, and I was at peace. And he's a chaplain in the army, so he frames it like I experienced God's pleasure in me that day. I also learned that I can choose to let go of anger, which doesn't work, and be at peace instead. And if you remember, one of the flow quotes was about knowing yourself. That flow is a way to get to know yourself much better. So that's exactly what happened for him. So it's a classic flow experience. And also, that leads straight into his higher purpose, because in that moment, in that simple experience of a tennis match, he found a purpose and he found a transcendent meaning in an ordinary activity through his enjoyment of it and also through the lesson that he learned from it. And then finally, number 4 is ecstatic well-being. So you'll start experiencing more happiness and flow in every aspect of your life, and living an extraordinary ordinary life that gives you and others miraculous experiences and results regularly. So if you can do all of that, then well-being is guaranteed. Well-being comes when you're happy, when you're in flow, when you're literally being well. And that leads to these miraculous experiences where anything can happen. Doesn't necessarily mean phenomenal things are happening, although that is possible. But it means that you can change your mind in any situation. Any difficult situation arises, you can enter into this happy flow state. And so your experiences of life become extraordinary. You continue doing what you're doing. You may change that, who knows? But even if you just carry on doing what you're doing, it becomes extraordinary because your state of mind has changed, and that's really the point. So another little case study. This is Hazel, who did a course I did a couple of years ago. So we did an exercise in a group session on Zoom, where I split people into groups, and she went off with Mbali, and they did this exercise, which was about inspired decision making, and then she experienced this expanding energy just radiating from her heart center, and she couldn't sleep. So disclaimer, if you can't sleep because you're in bliss, then enjoy it. It was probably the best night of her life. What a stunning experience, which will stay with me for the rest of my life. So this is possible. You can have these ecstatic moments, and you can have really, ecstasy is not just a concept. It can actually happen as a result of these kinds of processes. And then another case study. This is Robin, who did the first beta course I did 3 years ago. So that was just some of the feedback afterwards. She was totally satisfied. She found the course very extremely helpful in helping her to let go of negative thoughts and emotions and find more happiness, flow, fulfillment, and purpose in her daily life. And her key takeaway from the course was really peace. She experienced much more peace in her life, much less anxiety. By her own admission, she was kind of an anxious person, quite stressed out. So she started sleeping better. She stopped taking painkillers, got off the drugs, had better relationships with her children, and just not as frightened or worried. So pretty profound transformation overall in her life. And I'll let her speak to that actually, because this is an interview that she kindly recorded for me about 8 or 9 months after the course finished. So you can see just that this really did have a long-standing effect on her, and it has been life-changing for her. So I'll let her tell her story in her own words for the next couple of minutes.
Hi, my name's Robin. I did the course last year with Jonathan. I'd never heard of the course before. It was something entirely different to me, although I've been practicing meditation. I've been going to breathworks for some time, trying genuinely to find peace. I'm a mum, I work, I've got a normal busy life. I've been plagued with headaches, I've been plagued with sore necks and the normal problems that people have. I found that through the course and joining the online community, I found a group of like-minded people all exploring the course. The course is fundamentally different. At first, I thought it was all about religion, which it wasn't, although it is about God, and I do believe in God, and it made a great deal of sense in my life that the only thing is really that we concentrate on is God. It's about finding love. It's about being kinder to people. I still listen to the teachings every day. I've found that by listening to the teachings and following the book and reading, I have become more compassionate. I've become a nicer person. I feel less guilty. I feel that the world is a different place. I don't feel that the world is always a good place. It's not. But I believe that it impacts me less. I used to be traumatized by the world. I used to lie awake and worry about things that are happening and my children and my life, and worry about my past and worry about the future. I found that I've achieved a sense of peace. And if nothing else, I'm really grateful to Jono and the people I met on the course, because that sense of peace has helped me to heal many parts of my life. I no longer have headaches. I used to suffer with headaches. I used to have terrible neck pain that I was on painkillers on all the time. And honestly, those things have gone away. I don't take painkillers for my neck and I don't have headaches anymore. My relationships with my children are much better, and my relationship with myself is a lot better. So in all, it's taken a lot of the jagged edges off of life, and it's just made life more bearable. And if you think about it, we're probably going to be here for a long time. So if it continues to get more and more bearable, and as I say, each day I learn a new lesson, and it does make life a little bit different and a little bit better, and I see things a little bit more clearly. And that to me has been the biggest gift of the course.
Okay, so that was Robin. Just sharing from the heart really about the benefits that she's experienced. To summarize, authentic happiness, you'll know how to let go of any negative thoughts or emotions, no matter how challenging the situation, provoking them appears to be, and choose to be happy instead. So I'm not saying you won't get triggered. Negativity arises. We live in a world filled with negativity. But if you do know how to let go, and by the end of the course, you absolutely will. And sooner or later, hopefully sooner rather than later, you will say, okay, let me apply what I know to let this go and choose happiness instead, because that's in the end the only thing you can choose. You're going to be stressed out and unhappy, or happy, and it's up to you to choose. Second key benefit is about doing your daily activities in flow. So from the being, you extend this happiness into your daily activities, and you'll know how to remain poised and enjoy the moment while taking positive, harmonious action to respond to any situation effectively. So happiness in action, really. And it's actually the most functional, most productive, effective way of operating in the world. And then number 3 and 4 kind of rolled them into one because they speak to each other. They're very interrelated. You'll experience fulfillment, higher purpose, and a sense of well-being in your daily life. So it's be, do, and then experience. Be, do, have. You can put it another way. It starts from the being. So you start experiencing happiness and flow in every aspect of your life. So no exceptions, no exclusions. It's about making this holistic. Your personal life, your family life, your work life, your social life. instead of segmenting. Some people are quite good at work, but then their personal life's a disaster, or vice versa. So it's about bringing this into your entire life, and that is transformational. To make your life into a meaningful, extraordinary, ordinary life that gives you and others. It's about helping others and making a contribution to others. These miraculous experiences and results regularly, which is just a happy flowing state, particularly if you were not happy and not in flow and you managed to change that. That's really when the miracle really kicks in. So that's going to tab across to my so everyone's still with me, by the way.
Yes.
Just have a little
Yeah.
check-in. Everyone's still
Yeah.
there?
I'm here.
Marlene, Richard,
Yeah.
Yes, Marlene's here.
good?
Thank you.
He's here.
Any questions so far?
Not to me.
No? Oh, right. I wonder. I think I'm not hearing you, actually. Just going to try something quickly. Gave me a message earlier about see if that works. Okay, can someone say something? Hello?
Hi, Steve
Anyone
here.
there?
Hi,
Yep.
Steve here.
Hi,
All
Marlene
right.
here.
Okay, so people are speaking and I'm not hearing them. That's always good. Okay. I'm not sure why. Something's gone wrong with my speakers here. Okay, well, never mind. I'll just crack on then, because you're all still there. So, so I'm just going to talk about some of the tools you get and what's involved in this whole process now. So, just thought I'd just tab across to a web page, which is available for you after this. So there's 7 key spiritual practices to spark your transformation. First one is meditation. So you're going to get a guided letting go meditation, morning meditation, which is valued at £8. I set it online for that, plus a power sleep track, which will help you to sleep at night. That's also valued at a couple of pounds. You'll get 2 live guided meditations from Monday to Friday, plus 1 on Sunday. So it's about 45 minutes, 50 minutes a day. Do sort of 20 minutes to half an hour at a time. So I valued those at £10 an hour, which is what they go for if you do an online meditation these days and you pay for it. You'll also get recordings of the live sessions sent daily via WhatsApp. So that's 67 recordings at £1 each. So you can keep those. They're on your phone. You can convert them to other file formats if you want. And they come as prepackaged, just the meditation recording via WhatsApp. And this is what Martin, who's the CEO of a fairly large company, had to say. He did the first session I did about the morning guided letting go theta meditation. He says, it's been wonderful, really has brought a lot of value to my life. Love the second part of it where you center yourself and smile, very powerful stuff this. So that's the guided letting go meditation. And there's forgiveness and letting go, which is the second component of the program. So that's 10-step letting go process instruction and written worksheets. There's 6 other shorter letting go techniques in the Art of Letting Go course manual, which incorporates a lot. So maybe I'll just go through that. No, I'll go through it. I'll go through it later. It's just down below. You get a course manual which has got a lot of these things in it. A daily mind training lesson from A Course in Miracles sent via email and WhatsApp as well. So I used those two modes to communicate. So that's £1 a day, 43 days. So overall 54 pounds. And what Chi had to say about this was it makes forgiveness seem so simple. So a lot of people are like, well, what does forgiveness actually mean? Well, I break it down into the absolute simplicity of it and give you a number of ways of doing it so that you've got a few things in your toolbox to help you. Then number 3, breath work and mind training. So that's a big component. I put them together because usually when we're breathing, we're also doing some kind of thought mind training process. So that they package together. So there's a breathwork course that you get, which I'm going to market for £29 standalone. So that includes 7 powerful breathwork techniques and a written instruction sheet and audio and video recordings. So because breathwork is such an important part of the whole program, in the first week we're going to cover that. Each day a new technique. Then you're going to get 2 audio recorded breath breaks, which are anywhere between 3 and 10 minutes, to guide you through practicing the mind training lesson for the day from the Course in Miracles workbook. That happens from week 2 onwards. So again, those are recordings that you can keep. You can use them. They're on your phone. They're very accessible, and they're short, so you can just listen to them. If you're feeling stressed, it only needs to take a few minutes to reset you, just to reset you into a more optimal state. And then a 90-minute live guided holotropic breathing session. So that's £15 incorporated in there. I used to do them standalone in the UK, and that's what I would charge. Then daily emails and WhatsApp messages. So you'll get a daily mind training lesson with an illustrative photo. So just to give you an example, here's an example of a mind training lesson. So you get a quote, you get, and usually I'll write a little post on it. This is an email from the course, day 35 of the course. So you can get an idea of what's in it. So there's mind training lessons, there's usually a recorded discussion session. You can watch the video, you can listen to and download the podcast, or just the meditation of it. And we also do a movie study as part of this. So we study the Matrix, the first one, the Matrix 4 just come up, but the original one, which has really got some really extraordinary metaphysical concepts in it. And I give you some other bonus stuff. There's bonus videos. Each day is a little bit different. There's the mind training lesson for the day. Above all else, I want to see for it's workbook lesson 27. So, and then I actually included in the actual exercise is in the email. So you don't have to go anywhere else from A Course in Miracles. So you do not need to buy A Course in Miracles. And then I formulate all of this into a daily schedule. So if you at a loss for what to do, there's guidance on here's ideally what you do with your day, morning, afternoon, evening, and I send out usually another WhatsApp message in the evening, and then we do a daily session in the afternoon, and one in the evening as well. This happens to be a Saturday, I think, so daily live session isn't included in here. So it's a rest day for more consolidation day. So that email gives you an idea of what you get, the ideal spiritual schedule for the day, your inspirational quote. So the reason that's grayed out, by the way, is because I've already factored that in up here. So I don't want to double count things, but the mind training lesson and the ideal spiritual schedule, are extra value. So I value those at £1 a day as well. and you get links to attachments of the audio and the video recordings in the email. So all of that stacks up to £157, and this is what Marie had to say about one of them. I've got some more testimonials I'll share with you at some stage. So I just did the one you sent at 13:23. I feel totally relaxed and connected. Another lady was having a panic attack. She got a breath break. It stopped a panic attack. So it's a powerful modality. Breath work combined with mind training is particularly powerful because you're putting yourself into the right state, in the right frame of mind, in order to really learn when you do the breath work. And then in this context, I wanted to mention the holotropic breathing as well. So holotropic breathing is awesome, says Martin. Thank you for the holotropic breathing. It's Robin. It's really puts you into an altered state of mind. Difficult to explain exactly what happens, but just through breathing, you really do go on a trip, basically for an hour, and that may mean you go into past places and events in your life. Memories come up. People can have past life experiences, pre-birth experiences. Anything can happen. Phil had his catharsis as a result of this holotropic process. So I facilitate that for you remotely, but it actually works quite well at the end of the course. So that's part of breath work. And number 4 is group discussion and exercise sessions. So these live interactive online discussion and group exercise sessions from Monday to Friday, and also on Sunday, in which you can ask questions about the course material, about the mind training lessons, about the text reading, and other course material that we discuss. That's about roughly 17 hours a week, depending. So it's a lot of live sessions that you can join. You don't have to join all of them, but they are available as recordings as well. I send them immediately to you as audio recordings on WhatsApp. So you can just listen straight away. You can listen while you're driving. You can listen while you're cooking. You can listen anytime. As long as you're not doing anything that requires too much concentration on the activity, you can actually be listening to these sessions. So you can catch up with them if you missed the live sessions, but I'd really encourage you to do as many of the live sessions as possible. So if you factor that all in at £10 an hour, it comes to over £1,000. Audio recordings, £1 a recording, and then 1 or 2 extra recorded discussion sessions. So I made this into something that someone can do without the live sessions. You can just do these recordings that are embedded into the emails. So there's a lot of material. You're probably not going to get through all of it, but you pick and choose what you want to do. And what I'd recommend, if you want to do the course, try and do as many live sessions as possible, because in the interaction, things start to happen and really unfold. All of that's really the major part of the value in the course, is these live sessions and the recordings. That stacks up to nearly £1,300. Vim, who did the first course, you remember his testimonial about the tennis, said there's a powerful dynamic in doing the course material together as a group and in sharing energy. And there really is. In this technology, Zoom really does facilitate sharing of energy remotely. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. It's quite amazing. The fifth component is reading A Course in Miracles. So this is one lesson from the workbook in the morning, one section of the text, which is an average of 2 pages. So you're going to read 2, 3, maybe 4 pages a day. There's audio recordings for all of those. So if you want to listen to the audio instead, you can. And then, as I've already mentioned, in the emails you get, and the WhatsApp messages I send you, you'll get the daily workbook lesson. You'll get a link to a page with the reading from the text. You'll get links to the audio recordings of both of those from a well-known Course in Miracles teacher called David Hoffmeister, who reads the lesson and the text. And you get an ideal daily schedule, which tells you how to frame it all, put it into a day. So I've already counted that, but so I put it there, but I haven't counted again. So that's £15 is really just a substitute for the actual course itself. You don't need to buy it. You can just do the course, and I give you all the links. So it's available, fortunately, freely online. If you want to buy it and you already have the course, then by all means you can, but you don't need to. So there's a £15 value saving there. If you buy it as a hard copy book on Amazon, that's what it's currently costing. Then the sixth sort of key spiritual practice is fasting and abstinence. So this is optional. You don't have to do it, but I'm going to recommend it because it will add to your experience, your transformational experience, and try to design this as transformational in a way as possible. So if you don't eat for one 24-hour period of every week, and for 12 to 16 hours every day during the 6-week course, you fast, you don't eat. So that might just be, well, you have dinner and then you don't eat until breakfast. And that's what you can do. If you can go for a morning or an afternoon as well, you'll find that it just does something else. So you'll find it helps you to heighten your spiritual awareness, shall we say. It'll also save you money, because obviously you're not eating as much. You might find as a side benefit of this, you lose some weight as well, which may or may not be something you need to do. But yeah, it's really a spiritual practice. And along the same lines, I'm going to recommend not drinking alcohol, not smoking, not taking recreational drugs, and who knows how much those may cost you, depending on what your habit is with those. They will have a cost, so that might save a number of other much more money, and it opens you up to, if you start abstaining from these things, it opens you up to a higher or deeper experience. And final abstention I'm going to recommend is not watching TV and avoiding news, because watching TV, particularly the news, really just fills your mind with a lot of negativity, and we're trying to clear it out. So you want to give yourself an opportunity to start experiencing something else, to start tapping into higher energies. And watching the nightly news generally doesn't do that, because there's a lot of negativity. You're faced with the seeming reality of this world all the time. So we're just going to take a little bit of a break. Idea is spirit is, although you can't do this in actuality, just to take a break and go out of your normal domain. So I've got a picture there of Jesus in the background. Well, someone portraying Jesus. So he went into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, apparently, before he started his ministry. And he did that because he just needed to go away from his life and his society, and he really wanted to get it. He wanted to find out who he was. He wanted to connect with God. And so going into the desert and fasting was the way he did that. And then he had some pretty profound experiences, which are described. The devil tempted him and so on. It was all just internal stuff going on with his ego. And he came out 40 days later, and he never returned to his old life. He then began his ministry, and after that, pretty much his life changed dramatically, and he changed the world. So that's what can come from abstaining from the world and just going within. So I'd really recommend you do that, although you can't physically go anywhere necessarily. You carry on in your life. You just do this. You create this little 6-week bubble in your life where you give yourself the opportunity to really transform. As Guy John Piper said, the greatest enemy of hunger for God is not poison, but apple pie. It's not the banquet of the wicked that dulls our appetite for heaven, but endless nibbling at the table of the world. It's not the X-rated video, but the primetime drivel of triviality we drink in every night. Very interesting. So it's about just getting out of some of that. And then finally, end of day reflection. So you're going to ask yourself 4 powerful questions, which I give you at the end of every day. And you're going to listen to the Power Sleep track. Another way of doing that is I give you a guided end of day reflection recording, which is around 10 minutes, just to take you through that process so that you can you can reflect on the day, and you can learn from the day. So you're trying to make best use of the day. And that's what Patricia had to say. This process really helped her to sleep. She had the best night's sleep. She had it in a long time. She woke up refreshed and had a willingness to start a new day. Thank you for the course. I'm finding it most helpful. So you're also going to get this valued at £30 as an extra bonus. It's the Art of Letting Go manual, information exercise pack, the manual for short. You're going to get the 10-step letting go process, outline and worksheet. It's going to, I'll go through that process at the end of this if you want to stay and let me guide you through that, as well as worksheets to help you to actually work through this in writing and just guiding you through it. You're going to instructions for 5 shorter letting go processes. You're going to instructions for practicing 7 powerful breathwork techniques. You're going to get several diagrams to help you understand the theory behind letting go and why it works better. You're going to get 12 transformational exercises incorporating instruction or worksheets. You're going to get 12 pathways to higher consciousness, which we'll go through in detail in the first week or so of the course. First couple of weeks. It's a powerful tool that will help you to practically live the letting go philosophy. You're going to get a map of consciousness to help you to identify where you are on the levels at any moment and shift up to the next level. We're going to talk about the integral model, which is really how to integrate this into your life, holistic perspective of life, a daily schedule planner, and some very inspirational quotes, and even some poetry. And this is what Martin had to say. So I really like the little extras. Well, actually, since then, that was the first course. They've become really a fundamental part of the course. This blueprint builder exercise he mentions, the naming your game exercise. These are really about getting into the guts, the core of your ego, and learning what that ego is, how it plays the game with you, and how do you let it go? How do you find true self? So it's a facilitated transformation process, and all of these exercises take you through that, and I guide you through them live in the sessions. So yeah, if you want to go and you can listen to Martin's testimonial after this, because this webpage is available. I'll give you the URL in the chat. So this just summarizes the value of these various components, which I've been doing. Meditation, £377. Forgiveness or letting go, it's £54. Breathwork and mind training, £157. Group discussions, that's where the majority of the value lies. And as I said, this, if you can do as many of these as possible, you'll find that they really do have a pretty amazing transformational effect. You don't have to buy the course, so it's all online. So there's a saving there, saving on food if you actually do the courses I recommend and you fast. There's an end of day reflection, which is £5, and then there's the Art of Letting Go course manual, which is £30. So 2176, that all stacks up to you, and then you get some free bonuses. So if that's not enough, in the Facebook group, there's probably about 300 hours of recordings. Don't know exactly, but there's a lot of recordings. So I've been doing this for 3 years. So there's 3 years of archive material in there. So if you want to go in and you want to access any of that, then you're most welcome to. It's all available. There's many posts, there's many videos, there's many audio recordings, which you can download. Some of them I haven't just put videos, I've put the audio recordings of podcasts. So you can go and help yourself. Can use as much of that as you like. And to help you make the most of that, there's 3 months access to the exclusive Facebook group. So you get 6 weeks access during the course. If you sign up in the next couple of days, I'll give you access in the interim, so leading up in the next 3 weeks, and then 3 weeks afterwards. So that you can go in and you can really use the material and whatever posts are there that I post live, because I post everything in the Facebook group once we've done the live sessions. You can go and access that afterwards for a period of at least 3 weeks afterwards. So and this is what Mbali had to say about it, that she's getting withdrawal symptoms. It was the end of one of the courses I ran. So your total bonus value is 391. You got the value of the mastery course, which is 2176. So total is 2567, which I'm not going to suggest you pay. So I've discounted it very heavily. There's 90% industry standard. Generally in this industry, most people say, well, I will give you 90% off. So I've done the same. And then there's a 3-week free trial discount because I'm going to give you a 3-week free trial. So the first 3 weeks is free, effectively. So I've just factored that in. That's 3 weeks and 1 day, in fact. So I would be charging £200 for the course, so it's £101. Less than early bird discount, £59. That's available for the next, 3 days, 3 hours, 55 minutes. So as of Sunday midnight UK time, it's that discount falls away. So I'm just giving you an incentive to really think. You've got a couple of days to think about it. If you want to join me for the next live Sunday session, I do a Sunday discussion session. I do a power half hour. That's tomorrow afternoon. You're most welcome to join any of the live sessions, get a taste for it. You can have a look at this web page to see what's I've got a lot more information on here, a lot more detail about what I've spoken about. There's some testimonials, so you can check it all out, think about it, and decide whether this is for you. Honestly, £97. That is about 1,970 rand. So I've tried to make it as affordable and reasonable as possible to do. And this is an introduction into a 1-year program. So if you want to join the program afterwards, if you like the process, then this is just the start of it. But it is a 6-week standalone course, complete unto itself, and you can then decide after the 6 weeks, where you want to go with it. If it resonates with you, you might want to continue. So I wanted to design a course really that didn't just drop people. It's like, okay, I'm not just doing a course and then that's it, off you go into the sunset, good luck. There's an ongoing program which is as comprehensive, it's daily sessions, to really facilitate a profound mind and life transformation. That's the idea of this. So that this time next year you do this process, you go, wow, that really was the year that I did change my life. Too often, we have great resolutions. It's a new year, I want to change my life, and then 2-3 weeks into the year, that's all faded away, and you just go back into the same pattern. So, if you really want to break that cycle, break that pattern, then I'd recommend this course strongly for you. So I'm just going to tab back to the presentation quickly. Let's pick up where I left off. Hopefully it's going to do that. All right, okay, maybe not. Okay, well, let me just escape it. I'll go into restart it. Okay, so let's start again. So I just want to talk about some roadblocks, really, because why might you not do this? The first reason might be you say, I don't have the time. And so I'm going to give a couple of solutions for that. Well, first of all, you could abstain from TV, as I recommended. Go to bed an hour earlier so you can get up an hour earlier to meditate in the morning. And you can try and integrate the other key spiritual practices into your daily routine to make you more effective and productive. So take breath breaks when you need a break from work. You listen to discussion sessions while you're doing other activities, such as driving, eating, cooking and walking, you can really use your time effectively. And you can save time on meals. If you do a 16-hour fast, that's going to save you some eating time and meal preparation time as well. So you really can make another hour or two in your day if you follow those guidelines. So time's not really, the truth is, if you're never going to make time for this, then how's it ever going to happen realistically? You might say, I'm not ready for this yet. So if you're under 30, I might say, okay, you're still learning. Sometimes you have to have some life experience. But if you're over 30, usually you have some idea that there's actually, you're missing something. We typically up until 30, we do the trying to make the world work and trying to succeed and really attaching ourselves into the world. And then sometime after that, sometimes it takes many years after that. Sometimes only people wait until they're 40 or 50. But we start going, well, this isn't really working. I'm not really happy. I'm not flowing. I'm not that fulfilled. I'm missing a sense of higher purpose. So what's it really all about? So you've probably arrived here today because you've hit that stage where you're questioning, you're saying, okay, well, how do I improve my life? How do I get over this? The truth is, no one else will do it for you. No one else is responsible for your own happiness, your purpose, your flow, your fulfillment, your success. It's up to you. Only you can do this for yourself. And life goes quickly. A year passes quickly. 3 decades passes very quickly. I have a family member who's been trying to write a book for 30 years and still hasn't done it. And 3 decades have gone by, and you go, wow, where did the time go? So carpe diem, seize the day. And we'll give you all the tools and the support that you need to do this. Any program is only as good as the tools and support. So it's all there for you. There's a lot of live sessions. You can ask questions. You're getting daily interaction live. You're getting emails and WhatsApp messages to really guide you and hold your hand through this process. So I thought I'd just include this quote from A Course in Miracles, which is quite pertinent in this context, because it says that this is a required course. Only the time you take it is voluntary. Free will does not mean that you can establish the curriculum. It means only that you can elect what you want to take at a given time. So whether we like it or not, this is a course you're going to have to take at some point. Whether you want to take it now or not is up to you, but at some point, it's a required course. And what he's talking about is awakening, is waking up to who we really are and overcoming all of our negativity. The course is Christian in statement, as this quote again from the preface to the course says, but it deals with universal spiritual themes. It is but one version of the universal curriculum. There are many others, this one differing from them only in form. They all lead to God, and we'll talk about exactly what God means in the end. So this infinite, eternal, transcendent reality is really what God means in a nutshell. And they all lead there. This is just one form of it. But you're going to have to take this course whether you like it or not. This form's been presented to you tonight. There's obviously a reason why you've showed up tonight. So hopefully it'll resonate with you. Hopefully you'll choose to take some action on this and dive in. And then you might say, I can't afford this. Okay, so money might be a factor. So what I'd say first of all to that is that this is your happiness, flow, your fulfillment, your purpose, your well-being. It's your life. If you don't invest in yourself and in your life, what you're really saying is that you're not worth it. And that is kind of the whole problem. That's the problem we're trying to address with this course, because the fundamental issue that most people have is a lack of self-worth. We'll address that in detail in the course. So to start with, don't let that sabotage you, because if you believe that, then you devalue yourself and you don't do the course, then nothing will happen. Truth is that action is the most powerful form of affirmation. So by saying, yes, I'm up for this, I'll actually do something, then you're affirming to yourself that you're worth it, that you're worth this, and you're worth the time, you're worth the money, and that is part of the whole transformation process. So it starts tonight. by paying for the course, what you're telling yourself is that you're worthy of all of it, that you're worth spending money on. Too often people just won't spend money on themselves. It's extraordinary. And yet you are the engine of your life. Your mind drives your life. Your mind drives everything. So they'll spend money on all kinds of other things, but not on investing in themselves. So this whole process is really an essential part of the transformation process. It's why I don't make the course free. Apart from the fact that I spend a lot of time on it, and time is money and so on. But making it free would do a disservice because it devalues it. And if it devalues it in your own mind, then, and I've seen this over and over again, you won't do it. So by paying for it, you ensure you value and you pay attention to what you're learning. You've got some skin in the game, to put it in another way. However, I will give you a free trial. So if you're not sure about this, you're just dipping your toe in the water, you're going, well, I'm not sure about it, then by all means, do a 3-week free trial. No hard feelings if you don't want to continue. 3 weeks will give you a good enough taste of it. 3 weeks is enough to create a habit. So after the 3 weeks, you then decide, whether you want to join or not, or you get a money back guarantee if you choose to invest in any time within the first 3 weeks of the course. There's an advantage to paying up front because you get the early bird discount, which is £59, or what is that? About 1,000 rand, just over 1,000 rand. So there's a saving if you do it up front. You get the early bird discount, but you can do the course on a 3-week free trial basis if you don't want to do that. If you pay and you decide you'd rather not continue with the course or the program in the first 3 weeks, just let me know. I'd like to know why. So usually I have a chat with people and say, what's the reason? But you'll get a full refund. It's only actually happened once. There's a lady called Reshma who actually wanted to do this as a self-study program. So she was already reading the course. She wanted to just read the text. She wanted to do it at her own pace. And me coming and saying, well, do this and do this, it disturbed her own program. So after a couple of weeks, she bailed out of it. So if you did want to do that, study the course on your own, I'd say, well, this program isn't for you then, because it is facilitated and it's guided. But most people tend to prefer some kind of facilitation and guidance because it's not the easiest course in the world. The language is quite high level. If English is your second language, again, that's going to make it even more challenging. So some guidance and facilitation, most people do look for that, whether it's through YouTube videos or a more formal program like this to help them. So as I said, if you don't want to pay anything up front, you can do the first 3 weeks free. And I'll throw in the Letting Go Meditation Power Pack, which is valued at £10, the Art of Letting Go course manual, and 3 months access to the Art of Letting Go Facebook group. And that's actually, I think I got my maths wrong there. It's more than £100, so over £101. So there's a lot of value in it, and none of that is chargeable. If you decide not to do the course, then you keep all of that value. So trying to make it as easy as possible for you to do it. So just to close out, I'd say, well, can you afford not to do this? It's your happiness, it's your flow, your higher purpose, well-being, and ability to thrive in life. And these are priceless. I'm asking for money, so I put a price tag to it, and I've showed you the value. I hope you forgive me for that, but I think it's important that you see what's in the course, the kind of value that's in there if you're paying money for it. But really, this is priceless, this is timeless. How do you put a price on your happiness, on your flow, on your true purpose, on enlightenment? You can't put a price on these things. So it's actually priceless and worth way more than the money. It's in a different order of reality. In fact, you can't even really put money to these things. So this is what chap called Yuval Noah Harari had to say. He's the author of many books, including Sapiens and 21 Lessons for the 21st Century. And this I took directly from an interview he had. It's really just saying that these kinds of skills, the skills of emotional intelligence and learning to be balanced in life and learning to be flexible, these are absolutely essential in life. So this is the new education. In the past, education was like building a stone house with very deep foundations. Now education is like constructing a tent that you can fold up and move to another location very quickly and easily. I quite like that analogy because this is on the go, it's in your life, it's happening all the time. You're using Zoom, you're using your mobile or your computer or your tablet, wherever you are, to access really what is profound education. It's learning about who you really are, why you're here, and that is going to influence everything that you think and feel and believe in your life. So a great investment. This is the new kind of education in things like emotional intelligence and the ability to be more flexible and learn. So I wanted to finish off with this quote from Marianne Williamson, who I mentioned earlier. This is the quote that Nelson Mandela mentioned or quoted in his first speech when he came out of prison. So a lot of people think it was him, but it's one of my favorite quotes of all time. He said, "Our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We're born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. It's worth contemplating on that for a few moments. A very, very profound quote, which speaks to everything we've said. So if that speaks to you, then hopefully this course is for you. And I send these out every day, so you should be on my list now. I'm going to get emails every day and WhatsApp messages from me every day. Just to summarize, let me just go back actually. I'm just going to tab across. So that's the right one. Okay, so all of the information is on this website. You can go and have a look. The pricing and so on. There's a couple of options which I'm just going to show you. Ideally, do the mastery course, which is 1,970 Rand. That gives you access to the full course, all the sessions, the full value of it is available to you. So let's just refresh. Okay, there we go. So that's the £97, 1,970 Rand. Huge discount. There's a massive discount in there, and 96% discount is involved. As I said, you get 100% money back guarantee, and over £1,000 of life transforming value in the first 3 weeks as a free trial. So if you don't do anything, no hard feelings, you got that value and you get to keep it. If you like to continue, then it's £97, 1,970 Rand. As you see, I've got a lot of stuff on here. I'm just going to skip through, so you can go and have a look at this afterwards. Really, this is about stepping up to the start of your finest hours. This quote says, Winston Churchill. I've just tapped you on the shoulder, and so I hope you'll step up. I just wanted to talk briefly about the options. So decide which version of the course you want to do. So the most popular version of the course is the mastery course, which is everything I've included here. It's the full course. There's no exclusions, but if that doesn't work for you, it's too expensive, then you can do just £67, 1,400 odd Rand. That allows you to join 2 live sessions a week. So you still get the recordings, get the emails, the WhatsApp messages, but you just won't have access to the majority of the live sessions. So that's one way. I wouldn't recommend it, but I've made it available in case you don't have the time or the money for the mastery course. There's also an immersion version of the course. So if you like some one-on-one coaching along with this, I can do one-to-one Zoom sessions during and after the course. So once a week during the course, and then follow-up session afterwards. And that's discounted. So it's much less than I normally charge. So maybe that works for you. And you can also do the entire 1-year mastery program. So if you'd like to commit to that, if you're convinced that this is for you, then there's a discount if you sign up for the whole program, and that includes the 6 weeks, but it's an entire year. So I've detailed some of the value there. See, there's the same idea: live meditations every day, live discussion sessions. You get recordings of the meditations, the breath breaks, and the discussions. You get access to the I Letting Go Club Facebook group. You get 1 email and several WhatsApp messages a day. If you factor all of that in, there's huge value. It's over £13,000, but you can have it all for £347, which is a 97% discount to value if that works for you. But if you just want to dip your toe in the water first, then do the course and decide afterwards, because after the 6 weeks, I think you should be pretty clear as to whether you like to continue or not. So you can do this a number of ways. You can pay up front into our bank account. I've got a South African bank account, so you can do that. The amount is 1970 in rands. The link to my bank account details are accessible here, but you can just message me or tell me. You can also pay up front by credit or debit card, and do it online here just by clicking this link. If you want to pay a £397 accountability deposit, you can actually do the entire course free, but then there's certain requirements. So that's one way of making sure you really do the course well. And if you do it, you get a full refund. So that's another option. And if none of those works for you, you can do the first 3 weeks as a free trial, but you will forfeit that £59 early bird discount, which you can lock in if you pay. So all of the details are on here. You can go to this website, click the links, and it'll take you to wherever you need to go. You can pay online with a credit card. Actually, I'd prefer just you do an EFT, so bank to bank, because there's no fees. So if you'd like to do this, just let me know. Message me on WhatsApp. And yeah, so I see Shane's ringing off. So that brings us to the end of the session, pretty much. Thank you for joining. Appreciate that, Shane. Thank you. And everyone else. Any questions? I'm just going to see if I can actually hear you, because I couldn't earlier. Let's just unmute. I'm just going to stop the share. That might make a difference. Okay. Still not hearing anything, which is a bit concerning.
Hi, Johnny.
So let me try audio. Select just. I'll try now. Yeah. Like I heard something.
Hi, Johnny.
Yes. Is that Sue?
Hi, Johnny. Yes, Sue. No questions, really. Just interesting commentary. And I just want to think about all that you said during the course of this evening. It's very interesting, but obviously something I need to process myself.
Yeah.
And then I'll get back to you on your WhatsApp and email.
Yeah, by all means, we're connected. I will send you a follow-up email tomorrow and a follow-up WhatsApp message tonight. So you'll actually have the link to this recording as an audio as well as on video, because it's going to be posted online, streaming streaming to YouTube. So I'll send that all to you tonight on WhatsApp, and I'll send you an
Okay,
email
great.
tomorrow. So you can reflect on
Okay,
it,
thank
and
you.
feel free to join me for any live sessions. So I'm running a live session.
I think I'll see that. Yeah, I think I might
Live
see that
session
as well.
tomorrow, 2:30. Just join using the same login link. It's just a half an hour, power half hour, call it. And then Sunday, we do a longer live session Sunday evening. So if you're still thinking about it then, by all means, join that session. I'll send you the details of when and how you do that.
That'll be great. Fabulous. Okay, great. Thanks, Donna. Thanks so much.
Anyone else? Yeah, my pleasure. Anyone else got any questions? Mita?
Hi, Jenna. Yeah, thank you. It sounds like really interesting and something that can really add value to my life at this stage. So I'd like to get back to you on it as well. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for this info session. It's really good. Thank you. Thanks, Richard, for the invite.
Yeah, my pleasure. As I said to Sue, I'll send you follow-up message, WhatsApp tonight, email tomorrow, with more information, links to listen to the recordings, to the website I showed you, and so on. So you can go on and take the next few days. The early bird discount's available till Sunday, so you've got a few days just to get your head around it. If you have any questions, let me know. And again, feel free to join the live session. Tomorrow afternoon we're doing one, and then Sunday evening. So if you're still humming along Sunday evening, join our live session. You'll get a kind of taste for what actually goes on. Of course, because I've got some members of the community, so there'll be a few people who join. Katie will probably join you; she was on earlier, and you can get a taste of it, and then decide on Sunday. So yeah, any other questions, Richard?
Jono, thanks for that. I just want to find out what is the kind of pace and the rhythm of the course. From a time commitment point of view. I've got a few things on the go, so I need to try and understand how I can sort of shape my diary, as it were.
Yeah. So there's two live sessions a day, Monday to Friday, which happen in the afternoon at 2:30, and then in the evening at 8:30 South African time. Those are. So you can join.
Sessions long?
So the afternoon session, typically about an hour. It depends. It's interactive, so it sometimes can be a bit longer, but I try and keep it to an hour, which includes a meditation for 20 minutes, as well as some discussion. So this is where a lot of the theory that I cover in the course manual, where we discuss it, and then we actually do some of the processes and some exercises. So typically those on Sundays, the kind of heavy lifting sessions on Sunday afternoons. So ideally you need to have a Sunday afternoon available during the course of the 6 weeks. And then the live sessions during the afternoons, well, join them if you can. If you can't, you get recordings. So I will send you the WhatsApp recordings immediately, so you can just listen when you're driving, you can listen when you're walking, whenever, to catch up on that session. And then in the evening, we do it again. But the evening sessions are different from the day sessions. So we focus on different things because there's quite a lot of material to cover. So there's a value in attending all of it, but realistically, I know most people won't. So you pick and choose. If you can't make the afternoon session, listen to the recording, but maybe you can make the evening session. So 8:30. Most people, that's after the workday has ended. So and then that's typically an hour and a half to 2 hours. We go quite deep. We do some deep teaching. So that's 8:30 to about 10:30 time. Again, recordings are posted in the Facebook group. They're posted in WhatsApp as well, so you can listen to all the recordings if you want. But I'd really recommend joining the live sessions if you can, because that's where a lot of the value comes through. Recordings just don't, unfortunately, have the same impact on people. If you're in a live session and you're interacting, it kind of takes it to another level. So the more of the live sessions you can do, the better, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you can make a couple of hours a day for this, really, then you'll get good value from an hour to 2 hours. You could spend longer. If you wanted to spend 5 hours, you could. But realistically, for a lot of people, that's not feasible. So an hour or two, if you cut some of the corners that I mentioned, you cut out some of the things that are extraneous, you can actually make that time and really do an immersion into this. Because the value, no matter how good the teaching is, the benefit really comes when you immerse yourself in this stuff. So it becomes experiential. You are actually doing the meditations, and you're listening to the stuff, and you're practicing the exercises, and you're doing the breath breaks. And that's what makes the difference. If you do that consistently over 6 weeks, it does have a transformative effect. At the end of the 6 weeks, you go, wow, okay, something has really shifted. I can't really say what did it. It was the whole process that did it. So Mita's got to go. No problem, Mita. Thank you for joining, and I'll follow up with a WhatsApp and an email. Thank you so much. So any other questions? Marlene?
No, from my side, it was awesome. Thank you, Jono.
Okay, good. Yeah, I think it's the second time you've seen it, so you've got a good idea. I hope you'll you'll be able to join us, because it is a journey, and it's a really nice thing. It's a nice thing to do with other people. You take on this journey together, and there's a kind of sense of community, even though you're not physically interacting. It doesn't matter. Zoom connects you in the ether. You're energetically connected. So hope you can join us for the journey. It seems like some of your friends will be on it. So
yeah, let's see what happens. Thank you so much.
One happy family. And as I said, you did I think a month last month, but I'm happy to give you a 3-week free trial of the course if you'd like to dive in for the first 3 weeks.
Thanks, Jono.
Okay. So any other questions? No. Does anyone want to? I did offer to do a closing meditation. This is about 20 minutes. So if anyone wants to do that, I'm most happy to guide you through that. It's a 10-step letting go process, which is very powerful. It's a nice way to kind of end off the day, prepare for bed. So anyone want to do it? I'll guide you through it now.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, Marlene?
Yes, thank
Richard?
you.
Yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, you're in. Great. Sue?
Unfortunately, I've got to go. I've got it's March, my kids off, and actually they're all in bed. It's been one hectic day, but certainly next time I'm going to join you on one of your other discussion talks tomorrow and then Sunday as well.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we do a 20-minute meditation in the afternoon, so join me then, and Sunday, generally maybe even a bit longer, about half an hour. So join.
Okay, so I'll join you then.
Great.
Okay, for now.
Okay.
All the best. Yes,
Okay, thank
bye.
you for joining. Have a nice evening.
Yes, you too. Cheers.
Okay.
Bye.
Namaste. All right, so just the three of us remain. So I'm going to just share my screen with you and bring up the 10-step letting go process. So I'll give both of you this because you stayed till the end. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. I'll give you this worksheet. So it's actually a written worksheet for the 10-step process, which is let's move down here. Let's just open it. Oh, so there's a written process and there's a guided process. I'll give you the written process, which is like this with some written instructions. So it's a powerful process in itself. There's a lot of value in this. Just working through, if you've got any deep-seated issues, working through this process through those deep-seated issues with this process will really help. So what I'd suggest you do is just think of something. Think of something that's troubling you. Something maybe it might be something that's been troubling you for a long time, something difficult. There's lots of negativity around it. Might be a long-standing condition, and bring that to mind because you're going to work on that in this 10-step letting go process. So bring that to mind. Close your eyes, sitting comfortably, feet shoulder width apart. Keep your back straight. Close your eyes. And start off by taking a nice deep breath in through the nose. So breathing in, noticing how the stomach rises and the chest rises, and the subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Pausing at the top of the inhale. Smile. So just bring to mind this situation, person, place, event that's seemingly causing you to suffer, seemingly causing you difficulty. And acknowledge it. Acknowledge the negative thoughts and emotions. First step is essential to starting the letting go process, because if you deny them, then you just repress them or suppress them, and there's no genuine letting go. They just remain buried in your subconscious mind. So you bring them into conscious awareness. Just breathe in, create some awareness. So you're just fully present and aware of whatever's going on, the thoughts, the emotions. You remain somewhat detached, not letting yourself react emotionally to them. So you don't sabotage the process. Just see yourself as separate from the thoughts and emotions. You're just the observer. You're observing these thoughts and emotions, and they're going on. It's just like an energy movement. There's a part of your mind that can observe this. Breathe in again, just to top yourself up. The breath is about awareness. Create some space, some light, some awareness around the situation. And this is really the beginning of the full realization that you'll one day have that you're not really this person at all. You aren't this person who's experiencing the negativity and all the dark thoughts and emotions. A person who's attached to all of these, who thinks that these are them. This is not true. To help you do this, again, you can breathe in deeply, open your eyes, breathe freely, and just raise them to the ceiling. Raising your eyes up to the ceiling. And you might notice that your mind just kind of goes blank if you breathe in at the same time. So this is a great little tool to blank your mind. Keep your chin parallel to the ground. And now as you exhale out through your mouth, you just let it all go. And have a sense of releasing this negativity, this dark thoughts and emotions. Blow them all out. Imagine you expelling all the air out like a dark cloud out of your mouth. And remember that it's really just an illusion or a dream. And remind yourself that the world and your changing perception of it, including this, whatever the situation is that seems to be upsetting you, is an illusion. It's a dream created by your ego mind to reinforce its false and fearful identity. The dream isn't really real, and it's not really happening. That's why it's a dream. So ask yourself, why am I getting upset over nothing? I'm just breathing in again. creating some space, some light, some awareness through the breath in your mind. You can observe any upset feelings to remain and ask yourself, why am I really upset about these? And you may go, this is impossible, this is incomprehensible. How can life be an illusion or a dream? But you don't have to fully believe this to start with. Just be willing to do the step, thinking that whatever you think and perceive about the situation and all the characters involved in it, it's just an illusion or a dream. So use whichever term you find most helpful for you. And you'll then be telling your mind the real reason to let go of its attachment to these false thoughts and perceptions. So you're just going to let these things go. Use your breath to help you as you exhale. You release and you let go of your own mental and emotional attachment to the dream. So that's the only reality the dream really has. It's your attachment to it. And now just remember the quiet and the peace. The bottom of the exhale between breaths, that it's really your projection. And everything you experience in this world is your projection. Even if it appears to be outside and independent of you. Because there is only one mind that is dreaming the dream of the universe, and the lives apparently being lived out in time and space. So whatever someone appears to be doing to you, you're in fact doing to yourself, out of your own unconscious guilt, which you projected out into the illusion of the dream, and you've manifested in the form of this situation and this person who appears to be causing you to suffer. It's all your own creation. It just doesn't seem so. People, the characters in the dream seem to be real, but they are a manifestation of your mind and of a thought system that is projected outwards. So what projection means. You have internal thoughts and then you project them outwards. You make up an external world and you project onto it. So whatever you're feeling within, you project that outwards. If you're angry within, then you project out that people are angry with you or you angry with them. People are doing things to make you angry. And so your anger seems to be justified. But it's very cunning because it's just a mechanism of projection. It's an illusion, part of the illusion. Very convincing part of the illusion the ego has created to make itself seem real, this projection mechanism. So projection then creates perception. As we project our thought system outwards, we perceive it as real, and feeds back into the projection, makes the projection more real, and we keep doing that. So over and over, round and round we go. We project and we perceive to create an illusion of reality in this world. And yet it is not real. So you can remember that. It's just an illusion or a dream. So breathe in again. As you do, just breathe in the essence of compassion for yourself and anyone else involved in the situation. Knowing that you and they are doing the best they can in their current state of consciousness. All unconscious, unloving behavior happens because people do not feel loved. So it's really a cry for love. only thing that will remedy it is love. And so have compassion for yourself. Because it isn't an easy journey. And you've had some difficult experiences. So you need your love rather than your judgment and condemnation to start letting go of all of that very destructive, condemnatory thought and emotion. And instead find the underlying happiness as everyone's natural state and right. So now, having set the scene, going to move into step 6, which is feeling the emotions. So you breathe in, nice deep breath in, imagine breathing light, sense of light, spacious awareness. And visualize light if you like. It's light and the spacious awareness. Just and in that spacious awareness, just feel the emotions. So whatever the emotions are evoked by the thoughts that you brought up a bit earlier related to this particular situation, just observe them, feel them. What do they feel like? And if there's any negativity, notice how that shows up mentally, emotionally, and physically. Usually negative emotions show up physically if it's a strong negative emotion. So that might feel like a block in your stomach, knot in your stomach, a tightness in your chest, clenched jaw, clenched fists, dry mouth, sweaty palms. Extreme nausea and panic attacks can come just from your emotions. So wherever you are, breathe in to these. Allow yourself to feel them briefly, experiencing all the pain and the discomfort. So you feel it first, but there's an awareness there that this isn't you. And that's the key part. So you cannot get sucked down into a downward spiral of negativity if you remain aware. This is all just part of the process, part of the healing journey that you're on. So breathe in the light. Imagine you breathing in a beautiful golden or white light or green light. Put one hand in your heart center, feel that light flowing into your heart. Drawing it in. And just make a decision now that you do not want this painful negative feeling inside of you to disturb your inner peace and cloud the awareness of your true self ever again. So breathing in the light, feeling the darkness dissipating. And Just exhale. And a sense of releasing any darkness. Whatever the constriction, the contraction, the pain that you experienced, wherever you experienced in your heart, your stomach, any other part of your body, just blow it out, the breeze of your breath. Just letting it all go. Finding some peace and stillness. Entering deeply into that. There's really nowhere else to go. Nothing else to do. So in this calm, surrendered state, let's breathe in again. Bring the light in completely. And visualize a golden or white light or green light. Flowing into your heart center, into your stomach. Every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body. Feel the darkness being transmuted by the light, because the truth is, in the light of your true awareness of love's presence, belief in darkness must leave. So exhale. Letting it all go. Surrendering into the stillness, to this perfect, peaceful, loving place. Appreciate the perfection of this. This situation has been a mirror. It's helped you to see and to let go of your own pain and negativity. So appreciate perfection in this apparently imperfect situation. It's brought your unconscious guilt, your fear, your anger, whatever egoic emotion up to the surface of your mind that doesn't really serve you. So if you can see that it doesn't serve you, you can let it go. And the situation, the person has served its purpose. It's helped you to become aware of what's not serving you and to release it. So that you can become aware again of the perfect peace and the love, joy that are your true nature and what you deserve to feel all of the time. So just feel this perfection, it's all perfect. Perfect in its seeming imperfection, because through this very situation that challenged you, that maybe hurt you so much, you also have the ability to let go of quite a large part of your ego, to free yourself. So remind yourself, whatever's happened, it's all perfect and its apparent imperfection. So finally, just breathe in again and be grateful. So you're breathing in the very essence of gratitude. To every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, part of your mind, every fiber of your being. So embrace that gratitude. Thank the person or people involved for giving you really what is a powerful forgiveness lesson. Feel the gratitude flowing in to every pore, every cell, every muscle of your body, every part of your mind, every fiber of your being. Grateful for this whole experience, nothing excluded, whatever the difficulty, the challenge, discomfort, pain, suffering. It was all necessary. It was all part of this divine plan to wake you up to who you really are. And how could you not feel grateful for that? Through all the chaos and complexity of this world, there is a power transcends it all. Power, the power of God or love. So filled up with gratitude and love, radiating it out. So now just to close the meditation, just sink in, breathe, relax, watch your breath, nice deep slow rhythmical breaths, in and out through your nose. Remind yourself that you've totally forgiven or let go of the whole situation and the people involved in the situation and yourself, all your thoughts, words, and actions related to the situation. And it's been dissolved. To nothingness that it always was. So just observe your breath. Breathing in and out, nice deep breath in. Say to yourself as an affirmation of this forgiveness principle, I forgive you, and then name the person or people. I forgive you. And I am forgiven completely. As you exhale, sense of releasing. Forgive you, and I'm forgiven completely. All is forgiven and released completely. We always are and have been and always will be. Oneself. So I love you unconditionally as myself. And say this to the person, bring them to mind, and say this again. I forgive you, and name them. And I am forgiven completely. All is forgiven and released. Exhale and let it all go, release it. Say I always have been and always will be one self. I share that self with all my brothers in the situation. So because we are one self, it means I must love all of my brothers in the situation. So just rest for a couple of minutes in deep silence to end the meditation in this total forgiveness for oneself we share. Feel like you're just merging, the person and you are disappearing and you're just merging into the one self. And many thoughts come up, seem to disturb this deep state of connectedness. Observe them casually and be willing to let them go. As you exhale, just blow them all away. The breeze of your breath. So nothingness they really are. And then sink back into the empty, spacious awareness that is the one self we share. So let go of everything, all thoughts, all feelings. Surrender completely to the one self. Nowhere else to go, nothing else to do, nothing else to think about. Just breathe, relax, be still, and enjoy the fruits of forgiveness for a couple of minutes of deep silence. And so very gently coming back from this deep state into awareness of your breath and the senses and the body and the world. Notice that for a couple of minutes there, you just went away, those disappeared from your awareness, and you felt completely at home, at peace. That is a little glimpse of your true home. Kingdom of heaven within, as Jesus called it. So I hope this meditation has connected you with that. So really, forgiveness is just a mechanism, a means to clear the way for the truth to arise in your mind, for you to experience this other world, this transcendent reality and dimension I spoke of tonight. So I hope the meditation, the whole session, has helped you to have that experience. There is something else, and actually have a taste of it. Now it's time to come back. So on the count of 3, you're going to open your eyes. 1, just breathing in, noticing how your stomach rises and the chest rises. Subtle flow of air in through the nostrils. Just pausing at the top of the inhale, smile. And just check in and scan your mind and your emotions, and notice maybe they're just quieter, calmer. There's an emptiness, there's a spaciousness that wasn't there half an hour ago. So notice this, anchor this state in. For the rest of the evening, just set the intention to carry this with you into sleep and into tomorrow. This presence, this awareness is source of happiness and flow and higher purpose, well-being, and all the things I talked about tonight. So stay connected to it. So it is said, so it is done. So exhale. Notice the flow of the air out of the mouth. Chest and stomach suck back in. Feel the energy subsiding back down the front channel of your body into your lower stomach and your groin. And the weight of your body on the count of 2, pressing down to the chair, your feet touching the ground, noticing what you're feeling and touching. Your hands. Notice any smell in your nose, any taste in your mouth. And notice what you're hearing in the surrounding environment. And just noticing all these things from this very still, calm, and surrendered state. You don't judge anything or label it or name it. And you remain in this true awareness even while sense perceptions are engaging. So these sense perceptions just blow through your mind like wind. Nothing sticks, nothing's permanent. Just stay rooted in your true awareness. And so on the count of 3, you'll open your eyes. So just take a minute to look around. Just observing everything in this very casual, attached way. Notice that it doesn't really matter what you're looking at. Your underlying awareness, this peaceful presence, is still very much there. So you're learning experientially the state of samadhi, which is really the sameness of perception. It doesn't matter what you see or feel, touch, taste, smell, hear. Underlying state is unmoved. You're rooted in your true awareness. In this happy, flowing state. So carry this state with you for the rest of the evening, on into tomorrow and the weekend. Setting the intention, and so it is said. By your will, so it is done. And that brings us to the end of the meditation and the session. So thank you very much, Marlene and Richard, staying until the end. Really appreciate that.
Thank you, Jono. Really appreciated it, and I hope the healing is well received by the other party.
Good. Yeah, good. So I'll send this to you as a recording. In fact, I've sent you 2 already. You may have seen them on your phone. So this is coming down the track right now as a recording. So you've got it. You can listen to it again. And I'm also going to send you a follow-up in the next half an hour with some links and some other information. So have a look at that. I'll send you an email tomorrow, and join me.
Fantastic. Thanks,
Join me tomorrow or Sunday for one of our sessions. I'll give you an experiential taste. I'll put the times in my messages, and hopefully, any thoughts on doing the course?
I'm quite interested. I want to have a look through it again. I'll go and look at that web page.
Okay.
The pricing isn't really an issue.
Okay.
I think that's quite reasonable,
Well, I try to make it reasonable because, well, in the true spiritual tradition, you don't charge, do you? So that's just very difficult to actually do in Western society, because no one's giving you donations to do this work. In the East, they have a tradition set up where they can, people give donations, and then the teacher can just teach, and they live on donations. How Buddha lived his life, Jesus as well. It was donations, but it's not always that practical in today's world. So I'm charging, but I'm making it very reasonable, and because I like you to do it, I'd like more people to do it, and I'd like people to stay on it. So for the entire year, it's like £347. That's not a lot really for an entire year's program. There's weekend workshops that go for 5 or 6 grand or 10 grand for an entire year. But if I make it as I showed you, there's like £13,000 of value in it. If I charge that, there's no way anyone would do it. So there'd be no point.
So it has to. In the UK at the moment now.
No, I'm actually I'm in South Africa.
Okay.
But I'm hoping to go back. I had some visa trouble, and then I got stuck with COVID, the regulations. I couldn't go back on a visitor's visa, so I'm still in South Africa, but I'm planning to go back next month, hopefully. All goes